Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Public Domainia. Well, happy Memorial Day, by the way. I hope you're enjoying a nice day off, if that's something that you're fortunate enough to have. And I just thought today, since we didn't do Public Domainia in quite a while, that we should maybe take a look at some old 1950s educational films again. As you can see, I'm pretty casual today. Bear with my everything. What else? Mike Mack says, since it's Memorial Day, can we watch the Hans Wormhat denying World War II if possible? Oh god. I don't want to deal with Hans Wormhat today. Citisaurus, thank you for gifting a sub. I sound tired. I've been very tired recently. I don't know why. Lord Necro JZ says, made some apple fritters and shared pictures in the Discord. Let me know what you think. Okay, let me go look for it. Is it in stream chat? Or is it under... Is it under creative, maybe? Oh, food porn, probably. Ooh, those do look good. Hold on, let me open them in, yeah. I will take one, please. Pass it to me through the internet. I would appreciate it. Those do look good, though. I don't think I've actually looked in the food porn section of the Discord. Wow. They're all nice and fried, too. Oh, you posted all the steps. Nice. Yeah, go check out the Discord if you guys want to see the process and everything. It's interesting. Didn't I start new meds for my ADHD? Not yet. I got the testing and got an official diagnosis. But I do not have the meds yet. I can't believe it's the last day of the month already. Things have been going by so fast. So I have a ton of 1950s, either educational films or propaganda. Kind of a fine line sometimes. But I thought we'd take a look at some of these. They tend to be interesting. If there's any that we've seen already before, let me know. Sometimes they kind of blend together. So if it's one that seems familiar, let me know. I'll try and remember, but... Trash Mio, thank you for subscribing with 12 months, says, out of curiosity, why don't you have the recently added Twitch trans tag? Oh, I guess I didn't even know they added that. I'll have to add it. Okay, so yeah, let's just find one of these to watch. Red Nightmare. This one's actually from the 60s. I think I have a couple in here that might be about scare, communism scare, Red Scare stuff. Oh, here's a nuclear propaganda one. Those are generally pretty good. Are you a commie or a citizen? That sounds like a good one. Tea with Goblins, thanks for subscribing for 4 months, says, the sub-baby is wrapped in tinfoil and almost half-baked, so prepare. Thank you for making it that much easier to get out of bed at 7 a.m. Well, thanks for coming. Yeah, let's do this one. Are you a commie or a citizen? Let's find out, chat.
For today's topic, let's join now a group of young people at the National Education Program Workshop in Searcy, Arkansas. At the classroom lectern is Dr. Clifton L. Gaines, Jr., noted young historian.
Some of you may be asking yourselves, why should we be bothered with developing citizenship responsibilities? Well, there are many reasons. One of the primary reasons is that great principles do not live from generation to generation without being nurtured, without being kept vigorously alive. Unless we understand and work effectively for the principles upon which our American way of life is founded.
Oh, no. The first one at the very bottom is fundamental belief in God, which holds up the United States Constitution. I don't know if you guys can read that. The foundational block on this example is fundamental belief in God. Oh, no. Andrew Patella says, are you a commie, a citizen, a gay or disabled person? Remember, you can't be more than one of those at the same time. Oof. 1950s. Please stop.
Structure will crumble, and our heritage of freedom will perish. Another primary reason for the development of citizenship responsibility is that we are living in an era marked by the growth of socialism. To a substantial degree, in one form or another, socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth. And the shadow is encroaching.
I don't think there was any point where socialism was the primary, ideological, social or economic organizing principle. I don't think that was ever the majority, so that's an interesting statement. Wing the Ultimate Nug says, have you seen that the CIA ICE believes that microwaves can be used to give you headaches or stomach aches, and somehow they believe Cuba has the technology and is so advanced the CIA can't find any evidence of it? What?
Upon our own liberty. A third major reason for accepting our citizenship responsibilities and working at them is the presence within America of socialist and communist propagandists dedicated to the establishment of a new order. The communist fifth columnists among us are working for world dictatorship. To accomplish this, their strategy is to undermine the confidence of our people in the American system and the principles on which it stands. The socialists among us seek to bring about a gradual change in our system by gradually destroying the principle of the private ownership of property and substituting the socialist principle of government ownership. Now let's be practical for a
Do I want another horrifying game show recommendation? Yes, please.
moment. Is the American way of life worth bothering about? That is, with a viewpoint of self-interest. Well, let's see. We know that under the stars and stripes, we have more freedom than do civilized people on Earth.
Oof. It's the 1950s. You want to double check if a majority of your population has rights? Between the women and non-white people and gay people? Yeah, no. It's gonna be a no from me, dog.
Our freedom stems from the fact that America is a republic, founded on a constitution, and dedicated to the principle of democracy and the worth of the individual. The people rule.
You know which people.
Our nation, although containing only 6% of the land area and 7% of the population of the world, produces 42% of the world's wealth.
And one day we hope to house a third of the globe's criminals. Yay, America! Hooray, freedom!
We know that the average American, in all walks of life, has a living standard twice as high as the best in Europe, where socialism is widespread, and from 5 to 10 times better than in the communist countries, such as Russia and China. And if we remember our previous lessons, we know that this economic abundance is possible in America because incentives for progress and the other factors built into our dynamic private enterprise system have enabled us to utilize our resources to the fullest extent. So we do have good sound reasons, both abstractly and in self-interest, for developing citizenship responsibilities toward safeguarding the basic principles of our way of life. But let's put the full challenge in a few words. The world is caught in an era of socialist expansion. Most of the nations are affected, and America is a target. In fact, the number one target of both the socialist and the communist. If we permit our great system to crumble through the apathy of our citizenship, we shall lose not only our freedom, but our prosperity and our still brighter future. What then must we do as citizens? What are our obligations of citizenship? Number one, to understand the American way of life and what makes it tick.
In our republic, we have representative government, not sheer majority rule.
And isn't its authority divided into three branches, the executive, legislative, and judicial?
Tea with Goblin says, maybe I'm just an obnoxious contrarian, but this kind of super straight-laced nationalist red scare drivel makes me want to be extra queer and extra bullshit today. Fetch the glitter and the Molotovs. Mike Max says, freedom is what Americans feed, but fear when others do it. Zozo Horror Show says, funny how none of the rhetoric has changed, and Wing the Ultimate Nug says, yes, that's right, we don't have a democracy, we have an oligarchy. It is funny that this is what a lot of, like, older people grew up in, and it basically primed them for QAnon. Interesting stuff.
Yes, it is. And it's important, too, that in our republic, authority is surrounded by an ingenious system of checks and balances.
Oh, yeah, they're working out great.
That prevents autocratic or dictatorial rule.
Unless you're the president, then you literally can't be indicted for some reason. Why did we decide that? I don't know. Reasons.
That is, if we maintain the Constitution as our basic law. Well, that briefly sums up our political structure. What about our economic structure?
Marcus Drake, thank you for subscribing for 9 months. That's a sub, baby. We're gonna call whatever the next. Who did they say anyone's name in this video?
Our economic system is based on 3 major principles.
Oh wow, that guy has a baritone. You know what? We're gonna go with Stalin. The baby's name is Joseph Stalin. That'll do.
Private ownership of property.
Comrade Devin says, this one is only about a decade old. Repo Games was a sadistic show on Spike TV that featured 2 men arriving to repossess a family's car. If the family could answer a series of trivia questions correctly, they got to keep the car. Presumably the network paid off outstanding debts, but if not, well, tough luck. Fun fact, 1 disgruntled contestant's end. Oh, God. Ugh. We'll go to that in a little bit. That sounds disgusting, though. Where was it?
The profit motive and the competitive open market.
Yes, those are the 3 great pillars. Private ownership diffuses the wealth and economic power over the very widest area.
Income inequality is worse in the US than it is in Europe. So, seems like free market capitalism isn't going well. At the very least, like some heavy regulations and higher taxes on the wealthy would probably help. Oh, boy.
Over our whole population, and makes
Zozo Horror Show says the main guy's voice sounds like Kent Hovind, and now you can't unhear it. Oh, God.
our people independent,
Oh, no, he does!
masters of their own lives.
I don't like that.
The profit motive, as we have learned, is active in all human behavior. In our economic system, the profit motive is the incentive for new development and constantly expanding production. And the open competitive market is where the consumer is king. It is this factor in our economy which brings about better goods and lower prices, as one company after another tries to outdo its competitors and get the consumer's business.
Or they'll just buy all their competitors once they get big enough and drive down prices so much that no small operation can ever compete with them. Walmart, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, I don't know. You can name any number of large companies and this applies. Disney.
These are some of the
Amazon.
basic facts about our own system which every citizen should know. But now let us go on to additional obligations of American citizenship. Number 2, to understand communism, its basic godless philosophy, its goal of world conquest, its insidious tactic.
As opposed to America, which has never imposed any sort of homogeneity or imperialist control on the rest of the world. It's fine.
And its cunning strategy. Number 3 on our list of obligations is to understand socialism and all the cunning disguises in which it presents itself to the American people. Our 4th obligation is to understand propaganda techniques as used by both the communist and the socialist. This is a very vital...
Which no one in capitalism ever uses, okay? Capitalists don't use propaganda. Fact.
Important need. Thousands of good, loyal Americans.
Again, by the way, I'm not defending fucking the Soviet Union or anything in this. I recognize they're terrible. I'm not a tanky. I get it. I just find it funny that the Cold War rhetoric came out the way that it did.
Have been duped into actually aiding the communists, simply because they did not look carefully before they joined some high-sounding venture, or before they more or less blindly advocated some course of action. Number 5 in the list of American citizenship obligations is to take an interest in your public schools and in your private and public-financed colleges.
God, I think a modern Republican would probably call this guy a communist. How dare you tell me to care about public education?
To take an interest in what's being taught and how it's being taught. And to take an interest in the welfare of the teachers who contribute so much to the development of America.
What, you want to pay those neo-Marxist teachers more money? What are you, a democrat?
Number 6. In addition to voting in all elections, become active in government. Run for local, state, and national office, or help select capable people of the highest integrity to serve. Be constantly vocal on all local and national political issues. Tell your representatives in Congress, or even the President himself, what you think is the best course on issues that come before the public.
Especially if you're a large multi-billion-dollar corporation. Let your representatives know what you'd like them to do based on large donations primarily made through super PACs, thus negating the ability to track where funding is coming from.
Number 7, strive constantly for spiritual growth. We, as individuals, can push the world along toward mankind's highest destiny if each of us will make the welfare of his fellow man his first concern, and if each of us will apply the principles of God's truth to our political and economic affairs. And lastly, obligation number 8. Dedicate a part of your everyday life to the bringing of these requirements of American citizenship to the attention of fellow students, fellow workers, neighbors, and friends. Is it too much to ask that we fulfill these obligations of citizenship?
According to the modern right, yes. You don't have any responsibilities as a citizen, like wearing a mask or anything like that. All you have are rights, no responsibilities. Mike Max, thank you for 20 bits, says, when you realize that propaganda helped give birth to America and keep it running. Andrew Patella says, don't blame me, I voted for Kodo. Swing the Ultimate Nug says, if we are already telling the representatives what to do, then why have them and not just vote on big issues we decide to, and have the politicians just keep the lights on and do boring stuff? Yeah, I don't know. Direct democracy is an interesting concept, and it's never been tried on, like, a super large millions and millions of people scale. So I don't know how that would go. It'd be interesting to see if anyone ever tries, though. Hot Bees, thank you for gifting 5 Tier 1 subs to the community. I appreciate that. And Fly West Joe says, is America just 32 cults in a trench coat?
If we think so, we should read again the history of the founding of this nation and consider the hardships of the people who made possible our freedom. They felt that no challenge was too great if freedom was at stake. That spirit carried them on. It created for us the foundation of our great heritage. We have seen it flare up and burn brightly in every national emergency, on the battlefields and at home.
Hi, Daddy Sumo.
The socialists, the communists, and their followers would like to see the American spirit extinguished. If each of us will rise to the occasion, if every citizen, young and old, will accept the challenge of his citizenship, then the socialists and communists and their followers will not prevail, and America will go on toward the fulfillment of her great world destiny.
Dr. Clifton Alganis Jr. was our
What the fuck does that mean? Alright, let's watch something a little lighter. How about this video on classroom discipline from the 50s? Prime says, I don't think anyone who says freedom actually knows what freedom looks like. I guess not.
The vast majority of behavior problems in the classroom involve minor breaches of discipline. These incidents frequently originate in the classroom situation itself and are within the control of the teacher. Disciplinary problems in the classroom are symptoms of underlying weaknesses in total learning situation. Mr. Grimes, mathematics teacher, is displeased with the progress of his 9th grade class in mathematics.
You see what low grade you made on your weekly mathematics test? More than half of you failed. Most of those who passed...
If more than half of your kids fail, that means you failed as a teacher.
just got by. Nobody had 100%. This is the poorest class I've had in a long, long time.
Well, you're the poorest teacher they've had all day, so how's it feel?
Most of you have no foundation at all. Now, the trouble's with your attitude. You don't pay enough attention in class.
I can't be a shitty teacher. It must be that you all suck, okay? Just be better, okay? Focus. I know you're worried about the USSR bombing us all with a nuclear weapon, but you need to learn, you need to learn math. So sit down and shut up and learn the math that I am teaching you, okay?
You don't do enough work outside of it. You don't know what the word study means. You haven't the slightest idea. Don't you realize that mathematics is an important subject?
Mike Mack says, this reminds me of the Family Guy educational video on how to treat women at the workplace. Not familiar.
I tell you right now that unless you get over your lazy habits and come up to the standards I've set for this class, many of you will have the pleasure of repeating this course next semester. Oh, what is it?
A note from Dr. Williams.
All right, that's all. I have to leave for a few minutes. Now, I want you to open your books and work out correct solutions of the problems you missed.
Mike Max with a link.
I can't make any sense out of this. I might as well quit. Gee, he never even took up this third problem. It's a jiff.
He's got me scared to death. I'll just never pay.
I did not see PragerU started a kids' cartoon show. Ugh.
This course. What's the use of taking this stuff anyway? I'm afraid to take my paper home.
He's just a sourpuss.
The trouble is, you don't know what the word study means. You haven't the slightest idea.
Oh, try
What's this? What kind of behavior do you call this? Wait a minute, you stay where you are. This is the kind of behavior I might have expected of you.
Oh my god! This guy needs to chill out. Like, what the heck? They're children.
All I do is leave the room for a few minutes, and what do I find? Confusion, disorder. And you, what were you doing?
I was just going...
Going to what? Throw the eraser, I suppose. It's a good thing I caught you. I'll make an example out of you.
Oh, Jesus Christ, what the hell?
But
That's enough out of you. Leave this room and report to the principal's office immediately. Well, hurry up. Don't take all day. Who did that? All right, since you think it's so funny, the whole class can stay in for 45 minutes this afternoon. Then you'll see how funny it is. Remember, the whole class is to report back here at 4 o'clock. Where were we?
I can't come. I got a newspaper out to do.
I got football practice. He can go fly a kite.
I have a piano lesson. I can't miss it.
I think he's horrible.
Stop that whispering.
Mr. Grimes did not have a happy time of the week.
Who dropped that book?
What if someone legitimately dropped a book? You're gonna get mad at them? Like, we saw the kid do it. We know he's screwing with him. But how would the teacher know? How would the teacher know?
All right, I'll wait till you're quiet. Many of you failed to hand in your homework yesterday. Now, you know that... What is this? Stop that noise. 2 detentions. 3 detentions. Leave this room and don't come back until you're ready to apologize to me.
Well, this is going to get us nowhere. Maybe we'd better go back to see if we can't find some of the causes of this undesirable learning situation. Just what was Mr. Grimes' purpose in making such statements as these?
This is the poorest class I've had in a long, long time.
This is hardly the way to win friends or influence people.
Oh, good. They are gonna be like, hey, don't be this big of a dick. Good. I was worried they were gonna be like, these kids are shits. This guy is right. Okay. I should have had more faith. Good. Vast Lunacy with 20 bits says, these kids are gonna turn Mr. Frank Grimes into Frank Castle. D with Goblin says, okay, Hannah, if you keep showing these awful propaganda films, I'm gonna need some help pouring the glitter into the cherry bombs.
You don't know what the word study means. You haven't the slightest idea.
Might not be a bad idea to show them how.
I tell you right now that unless you get over your lazy habits and come up to the standards I have set for this class, many of you will have the pleasure of repeating this course next semester.
What kind of motivation is this? To what does it lead?
The trouble is, you don't know what the word study means. You haven't the slightest idea.
This reaction is the answer. It was the result of Mr. Grimes' provocative remarks. Now, take this.
It's a good thing I caught you. I'll make an example out of you.
Oh, come now, Mr. Grimes. By taking it out on the boy, aren't you covering up a symptom of your own deficiency?
Based.
Who did that?
Yes, who did? Some boy, probably. But the chances are it summarizes the feelings of the group. There is an unwritten code covering such situations. Why try to buck it?
All right, since you think it's so funny, the whole class can stay in for 45 minutes this afternoon.
Mass punishment is a dangerous weapon and doesn't work too well.
2 detentions. 3 detentions. Leave this room and don't come back until you're ready to apologize to me.
It's a long way to the end of the term.
Some say that kid is still wandering the halls to this day.
When will this end? Thus, what should have developed into a sequence of pleasant and valuable learning experiences had deteriorated into a series of disagreeable and injurious personal tensions. This is all wrong. Need any of these
I like that word.
incidents have occurred at all? Suppose Mr. Grimes had tried another approach.
Mike Mack says, no wonder why the old generation complained about the young generation, because we actually fight back and they didn't. Every generation feels that way about the next generation. I think even like, oh gosh, was it Socrates? I think Socrates was even like, these dang kids, they're corrupted. Hydrate. It's just kind of part of the human condition. I try and consciously not be like that. I got no beef with Zoomers. Zoomers seem cool. But yeah, a lot of people fall down that trap of, like, being uncomfortable by younger people being different than their age group.
Most of you are disappointed in the low grades you made on this test. So am I. Nearly all of you had trouble with that last problem on ratio. Now, perhaps I didn't do a good job explaining ratio.
Oh, good. Look, I like this video. This is actually a good educational video for teachers, potentially. If the entire class screws up, it probably means you didn't do a great job explaining. Because, average it out, there's going to be some kids in there who should be susceptible or receptive to learning the material, and if no one does, you maybe taught it badly. That's great. Good message. I'm usually so disappointed by these educational films. I'm pretty happy.
Now, ratio is commonly used in everyday life. Mother uses it in the kitchen when she takes a recipe for a big cake and uses proportional amounts of ingredients to make a little cake, or vice versa. But let's suppose a recipe called for 8 cups of flour and 4 eggs. I wanted to make a cake half that size. How much would I use?
You'd need 4 cups of flour and 2 eggs.
That's right. You boys use it in the shop when you read a blueprint. As you know, a blueprint's merely a scale drawing of something that's usually larger. Suppose I had a blueprint of a bridge that's going to be 100 feet wide. But on this drawing, the bridge is only 10 inches wide. Now, how many feet would each inch represent?
10 feet.
That's right. Now, that's in ratio. Now, let's see where we made our mistakes. The problem was this. What is the ratio between 4.5 yards and 1.5 feet? Now, you looked hurriedly at 4.5 and 1.5, said the answer was 3. Well, that's where you fell into a trap. What you forgot was that before you can divide, you have to reduce all units of measurement to the same unit. Now, what's the unit here?
Feet?
That's right.
By golly, I sure fell for that one.
First of all, let's change 4.5 yards into feet. That gives us 13.5 feet. And now we can divide 13.5 feet by 1.5
Let's
feet.
play a game. Who's missing in this video? I don't know what you mean.
The right answer is 9.
Wow, I see where I made my mistake.
Oh, you're talking about the fact that, yeah.
Now, I want you to look over your
Segregated
papers
schools.
very carefully
Yeah.
and see where you made your mistakes.
Purple Nickel says, oh
I'll
no,
come
this
down
has
the
turned
aisle,
into a
and if there are any
math
questions,
lesson.
don't hesitate to ask me.
It happens.
Yes?
from Dr. Williams.
All right, thank you. I have to leave for a few moments. On page 15 of your books, the first 3 problems are exactly like number 1 on the test.
Clearmancer
Suppose
says
you do as
math
many
is
as you can until
power.
I get back.
Yeah, I'm powerless. Yeah, honestly, I think that kind of mirrors my just anecdotal experience in school too. If you're in a classroom and most of the kids respect the teacher because they're like, they don't have to be a cool teacher necessarily, because not everyone's going to be the cool teacher, but if they're a teacher that, you know, there's a good back and forth with the students, they're understanding, they respect the kids, you know, they can still have that professional distance between them, but as long as they're not an asshole, they could probably leave the room and the kids will behave. There's always going to be 1 or 2 kids who like attention or whatever, and they might try and act up. But in my experience, kids are way more willing to let the kid get away with being an asshole if the teacher's a dick too. Whereas if everyone likes the teacher or at least respects them because there's sort of a mutual respect, then people will be like, sit down and shut up, dude. We're trying to like do our work. So, good messaging. Mike Mack says the best equation is the anti-life equation. All right. Good luck with that, dark side. No, not Dark Side. Is it Dark Side? I'm not big on DC canon.
The idea now. I sure messed up my test paper. I'm glad he's going over these questions. I'd never make head or tail out of them otherwise. You know, I'm beginning to get some sense out of this.
I hope I do better next time. I'd hate to bring another paper like this home.
The way he explains it, it doesn't seem too hard.
Oh, come on, cut it out. I want to do these problems. Oh, let's have some fun while Mr. Grimes is out. Who wants to do these old problems
Yeah,
anyway?
like, see, there's still probably going to be a kid who's kind of a dick. But people probably aren't going to put up with it because they respect the teacher enough to want to work on the material.
Now, you know where that border eraser belongs. That's right, put it there.
Grimes sure caught him in the act.
Oh, Grimes is a pretty good egg.
That's more like it. Now you're getting it. Let's see if you can do the next one.
Classroom control and learning efficiency are products of good teaching. Learning must be made meaningful. Interest in work for which learners see a purpose provides its own discipline. But in spite of interest and meaning, it must be remembered that some incidents will occur. Skill in handling such occurrences prevent their growth into problems.
De-escalation tactics. Yeah.
Oh, that's a pretty good catch. For a moment, I thought you'd miss.
I'm sorry, but I owed him the apple.
Well, I guess a fellow's expected to pay his debts. I'd suggest, though, in the future you do your baseball practicing outside of class.
A friendly attitude with a sprinkling of humor goes a long way toward winning the regard and cooperation of the class. For respect is a more desirable molder of behavior than fear. The development of mutual understanding between teacher and pupils will help eliminate disciplinary problems.
That was pretty good. You know, good for them. That was pretty... Obviously, you have the tertiary... Not tertiary, wrong word. The tangential issue that's sort of at the... at the edges of the frame, so to speak, in terms of, like... Obviously, the school is segregated, but that's just, like, a contextual thing that was a thing at the time. My Black Santa disagrees with it, but, you know... Can't go back in time and change that. Sorry, kids. That was a good one, though. That was pretty good. What are we going to watch next? Did I see Peter's new video? I watched it before the stream, yeah. Drugs, the Terrible Truth. Let's watch Drugs, the Terrible Truth. See ya, Ashmar. Thanks for coming to the stream. And, Athsani Indigo, thank you for coming to the stream. Ambiguous Samus, thank you for subscribing for 11 months. Says happy 11 months, Hannah. Thanks for all the amazing streams. Well, thanks for watching them. And Mike Max says, did Marcel's channel get deleted? Oh no, did it? Uh-oh. Marcel Bissette's channel was deleted. Did he post another video that I missed? Or maybe some of his old videos got, you know, reported because he did say some slurs in them. Pyromancer says, rip Marcel. Marcel does have a backup channel, so I assume he's moved over there. Let me see if he made a video about the situation yet. What the heck is the name of his channel? Can I just go to my like a list of my subs? That would be helpful. Because I don't even know the last time Marcel posted a video from his secondary channel, and I subscribe to so many people, it gets hard to keep track. Does he go into the YouTube graveyard? That's a good question, because he does have a backup channel. So he's not technically completely off. Let me see if his... let me see if his other channel is still up, and we'll decide based on that. It's like the Word on the Streets or something. Word on the Streets. This is his secondary channel. Okay. He has not posted a new anything to his secondary channel, so we'll keep an eye on that, and then determine whether or not we should put him in the graveyard. His backup is gone now too? This is it, isn't it? I can still reach his backup. Unless he had a different backup that I'm not familiar with. Or unless this is somehow just existing in my cookies for some reason, but I don't know if that's how it works. I don't know computers. Oh, you couldn't find it? Yeah. It's just hard to find because he only has 6 subs on this one. Luckily, I do still have one more Marcel video that I downloaded that I have to edit still for, you know, certain slurs and stuff and doxing. And then we can watch that on the next Sovereign Citizen Watch. Cash, not cookies. Yeah, see, I don't know the difference. Sorry. Here's the thing from the 1950s called Avoiding the Future Plague.
When you think of the future, you likely envision the remarkable technologies that you've seen.
This might be fake. It sounds like this is a modern mic with a filter over it. So bear that in mind. Let's hear it and see.
In comic books and films, you may begin to picture flying cars.
Yeah, I don't think they would reference comic books, and they certainly wouldn't reference comic books to an adult audience in 1956, because comic books were for kids. So this is... someone else made this, but it's only 4 minutes, so I guess let's check it out for a sec to see what he says.
That you've seen in comic books and films. You may begin to picture flying cars, trains...
Did I see them freaking out over Blue's Clues? Not yet. I did not. We'll do that for Chud Watch probably Wednesday. Mike Mack says, the Freemason Illuminati got him. That'll happen. Hydrate. Did I already do that? I don't remember, but I'll do it again.
Driven by electromagnets. Or household robots that will see to your every need.
Robots!
While modern scientists agree that many of these inventions are either unlikely or unnecessary, it may surprise you to learn what the future could actually hold. Imagine being able to share your thoughts with millions of people at once, simply by typing them on a keyboard and sending them through the air. Think of what life will be like when all of the many fixtures of an office, including a typewriter and an entire Rolodex, can fit within a device smaller than a loaf of bread. Consider the vacation plans you could make when a single trip on an airplane is all that's needed to visit anywhere on Earth. Yes,
Okay, I'm bored of the fake video. Let's find a real one. I want to do this Superman versus the KKK sometime, but it's 3 hours long. How about this nuclear propaganda film from the U.S. government?
You are the target of those who would trample the liberties of free men. You are in the crosshairs of the bomb sight. An enemy is centering on you. You are a citizen of the free world, a citizen of the United States of America. You may live in an industrial city, perhaps in a great port city with its burdened wharves, a farming area with fertile fields and grazing herds, a mining region rich with vital ores and minerals. You are the target. Our president has told us that even against the most powerful defense, an aggressor in possession of an effective number of atomic bombs could cause hideous damage. Today, in the age of hydrogen weapons, evacuation from target areas is our best assurance of survival. But successful evacuation takes time. If there is insufficient warning of attack, no time for organized evacuation according to plan, then you and your family must protect yourselves. Wherever you are, take cover. Whether in a private home, in an apartment, or your place of business, or in a motor vehicle, take cover. Motorists should park cars to the side of the highway. A clear lane must be kept open for emergency vehicles, fire apparatus, ambulances, engineering equipment.
I find it so interesting in all of these nuclear weapon, like, what to do films. It's basically playing a numbers game, because for 90, you know, if you're at the center of a nuclear blast, 99.9% of people who do stuff like this, who get under desks or who, you know, get under things, they're dead. They're gonna get immediately vaporized. But this is basically just to protect people who happen to find themselves on the very fringes of the blast, where, like, windows might bust because of the shockwave and stuff, but they're not necessarily getting caught in the fireball, for lack of a better word. I'm sure there's a different word for it, but it's just interesting that this is advice they tell you to do in case you don't get immediately vaporized. Scary. Pyromancer says, in the case of nukes, stick your head between your legs and kiss your butt goodbye. I've heard that joke before.
Now, let's look at your home. Protect it at all times. Don't permit fire hazards to collect. Unused paper and boxes, oily rags and waste, useless broken household goods. Such inflammable debris is a fire threat at any time. Think of your home as divided into connected spaces. Attic, bedrooms, living room, and so on. Spaces in which your loved ones live. If you have an attic, this may be where your children play, snug and secure, but helpless, completely dependent upon you for their safety. The bedroom where an ill or handicapped member of your family may be. The living room where the aged or infirm, helpless as children, may look to you for aid. Plan and practice how to assist your family to a prepared shelter without loss of time. Plan and practice the turning off of all household appliances operated by gas or electricity. Simple insurance against some fires and explosions. If there is time, cover windows with blinds or draperies. And
there's not going to be time. How would you know if you had time? The radio is going to be like, all right, there's a nuke coming in. I don't know how much. Is he going to know specifically? 5 minutes until nuclear detonation. You're at ground zero. Make sure you remember to close the blinds. Like, what?
Close.
Again, I understand it's a numbers game. You're just trying to save people on the fringes and protect them from the windows blowing out. But, like... Ugh.
All outside doors, but don't lock them. Shut off the draft on coal or wood-burning furnaces and stoves. Hot coals or embers thrown about could set fire to your home. Ask your local utility companies for advice, then follow it, and tag the sources so that you can act automatically on the way to the shelter. If you have a basement, that is your best shelter against the out...
Joe Aconite says, fun fact, the Pip-Boy mascot of Fallout is not actually given a thumbs up on the logo. Yeah, this is cool. He's measuring a technique to measure how screwed you are in a nuke. If the cloud is larger than your thumb on the horizon, you're extra dead. Yes, I've heard about that. If you can completely cover the mushroom cloud with your thumb, you might be okay. Mike Mack says, remember the fake nuke warning in Hawaii? I do. That must have been horrific.
Outside wall closest to the probable point of detonation. Any high explosive force collapses a structure at its weakest point. and may form a natural safe area. It is just common sense to use this area to build a lean-to shelter. This type is inexpensive and easy to build. The basement box-type shelter is stronger, larger, and more comfortable. Outdoors, you can build an earth-covered shelter which affords the best protection against blast, fire, radiation, and radioactive fallout. Detailed plans for these and other types are clearly described in the FCDA manual, Home Shelters for Family Protection. Your next step is to equip the shelter. Stock it with everyday materials with which you can face an emergency calmly. A battery radio.
Brain force. You need to buy buckets of brain force and that broccoli rice stuff that grifter sells. Citisaurus says, I'd honestly rather die instantly than survive a nuclear explosion. I'd probably agree, but I really hope none of us have to be in that situation.
Power may fail. Flashlights and spare batteries.
Have I seen the time we almost nuked each other in the Cold War because of a computer glitch? Yeah, I'm aware of that.
First aid kit. A 3-day supply of canned and packaged food, bottled water and other liquids. A garden hose and indoor faucet adapter, or buckets of water and a stirrup pump. Water purification tablets. Blankets for your family. If you have this emergency shelf, enemy attack will not catch you unprepared. If attack does come, your practiced plan will pay off. Do not use your phone. It must be reserved for vital emergency messages. Clearly mark the radio dial setting at 640 and 1240 so that you can receive official news and civil defense instructions on the Conrad frequency used in your area. Your life may depend on this. Train to give prompt first aid to the injured in your family, training that can serve you in any time of emergency. Train to fight small fires, know-how which may serve you well in any catastrophe. This is the plan to help you and others who need you, a plan to live, to work, and...
The description of Marcel's bye-bye YouTube video over on Rumble. Oh god, he's got a Rumble account? After 12 years being heavily censored on fascist YouTube, we're happy they finally deleted our channel. Thank God for Rumble, now we have another choice. Can I get a link to his Rumble channel? I'm not going to play any videos, but if I want to download them in the future to cover after censoring them.
Fight, as did your forefathers. Now, let's check the plan together step by step.
Thank you.
Check. You practice fireproof housekeeping all the time. Check. You have some type of firefighting equipment to fight small fires, and you know how to use it. Check. You have canned and packaged food, canned milk, fruit juices, and water to last your family 3 days. Check. You know the Conrad radio alert may be the first warning of enemy attack. Prepare to take shelter and obey instructions instantly. Check. Your battery radio and your auto radio have the Conrad stations clearly marked at 640 and 1240. Check. You have a civil defense first aid disaster kit, and at least one member of your family is trained in first aid. Check. Make sure your utilities are properly tagged for prompt emergency action. To take cover while driving in advance against enemy attack. Check. You will not touch your telephone after attack. It must be reserved for critical emergency calls.
Bye, Fly
Check.
West Joe.
Study and practice your family action civil defense plan now. The plan for prompt action in the face of any disaster. Tornadoes and hurricanes. Fires. Floods or enemy attack. You will be prepared. You will know what to do instantly to help ensure the survival of you, your family, your country.
That's scary. What else do we have? Drugs, the terrible truth. Check this one out. And assistance of Judge William B. McKesson of the Los Angeles Juvenile Court, whose sense of duty and dedication to youth welfare led him to appear in this film. Pyromancer says, drugs are bad, kids, but cigarettes are cool.
If anyone had ever told me a few years ago that we would ever read headlines like these in American newspapers, I would have called him crazy. Yet here we are, reading them. In the middle of the 20th century, in the United States of America, hundreds and hundreds of teenage boys and girls are becoming hopeless dope addicts every year. It's fantastic, it's unbelievable, and it's terrible, but...
Commercials from the 40s? Okay, thank you. Oh god, why would it pause? There we go.
It's true. The government maintains 2 hospitals just to treat drug addicts. At Lexington...
2 hospitals to treat people addicted to weed? Methinks someone was scamming the government for money.
In Kentucky and Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh yeah, these kids are really messed up on that devil's lettuce. Please, we need another $1 million in funding for their 2 hospitals, government.
It used to be a rare thing for a juvenile to be admitted, but...
Oh, it is heroin? Good. Okay. I mean, not good, but I'm glad. I've heard people call weed dope, so...
Look at these...
Jezebel N says, I injected 2 weeds and I need a new hospital to take care of me.
Recent figures. And remember, these are only confirmed addicts who have come to the attention of federal authorities. How many others are still only occasional users of marijuana or heroin, morphine, or in some cases sleeping pills? It's pretty hard to estimate. But there's one sure thing. Nobody is going to stay an occasional user very long. This is one game nobody beats. If you use narcotics, before long you'll have the habit, about the hardest in the world to break. And the dope addicts say, you're hooked. Well, how does one become hooked? The simplest way to answer that is to talk to someone who has had the experience.
This is the home of... I used a single dope and now I'm living under a bridge, sucking on rats for sustenance. Just sucking on them, though.
Mr. and Mrs. Walter Howard. They just got their teenage daughter back after a 6-month nightmare that even Edgar Allan Poe couldn't have improved on. Mrs. Howard agrees to let us talk to her daughter, Phyllis, when we explain that we could use her case to help others avoid the same mistakes. This is Phyllis as she looked 6 months ago, a senior in high school, pretty as a picture. Just recently...
It is a picture.
She was released from the narcotic ward of the county jail in the custody of her parents.
Oh, no.
It's hard to believe that this girl is the same as the one in the picture, but it doesn't take long for the drug habit to make anyone over.
Remember the fear of I don't know what that is. What are you talking about?
Phyllis wasn't anxious to talk about her experiences with dope, but she could see how her story might be used to help others, and she began to talk.
Yeah, we've watched Reefer Madness before. Honestly, 90% of it's just super boring.
I guess I knew about reefers. That's marijuana, ever since junior high. Some of the boys smoked them. The ones who couldn't get along, who were afraid of everything. You know, the ones with no backbone.
If you smoke the weed, You're a dang yellow belly. You got no spine. Mike Mack says, the super predator theory, now often super predator myth, is a theory in criminology that became popular in the 1990s in the United States, positing that there are some impulsive juvenile criminals who are willing to commit violent crimes without remorse. Gross. Hello, Alter Grin. How are you?
In high school, my girlfriend Ann and I went around with Jim and Bob. They both smoked pot. That's jive talk for marijuana. And after a while, Ann and I...
Jive talk? It's jive talk for marijuana.
So that we did, too.
Citisaurus says, but for real, don't do spice, kids. That will F your stuff up. I'm pretty sure I almost died, felt paralyzed, and could barely breathe. Just spring for the real stuff if it's legal where you live. Unfortunately, it wasn't when I tried the synthetic stuff. I just do CBD now. Yikes.
It's funny what it does to you. Everything speeds up to 100 miles an hour. You think you're real sharp, and you laugh a lot. You feel like you're the biggest person in the world.
I genuinely don't know what 1950s people, why they thought weed was like that. Like, the laughing a lot thing, some people get that. I don't typically. I mean, maybe. I guess I don't know. I'm probably a bad judge. But the other stuff, no. Things speeding up, no. What? It's the opposite. At least for most people I know. For everyone I know, I guess.
But I didn't feel so good when I came home high that night. My dad knew something was wrong, but he didn't know what. Mother was sure her daughter would never do it.
Man, it was probably real easy to smoke pot as a kid back in the days before every parent knew what pot smelled like. Because they've also probably done it at some point in their life. Imagine coming home just reeking of, like, 1950s skunk weed. And your parents are like, I don't know what that smell is, but I don't like it. Mike Max, I remember when K2 Spice was sold in the store, it was a big hit in Harlem, sadly. Ooh.
Anything bad. I'd been smoking pot for quite a while before I met Chuck. I guess he was what the newspapers call a peddler. He supplied the kids at school with whatever they wanted. Most of them used reefers like us, but some liked stronger things. There was something intriguing and different about Chuck. I guess I appealed to him in some way, too. Anyway, I found out later what it was about him. He had the heroin habit. He was hooked. Chuck and I started running around together, and one night he asked me up to his place. I knew by now he started peddling after he got the habit, so he could get H for himself. He needed a lot, because he had a big habit. You know something about hypes?
Am I allowed to show a needle go? I mean, I imagine he's not really doing drugs, but am I allowed to show a depiction of someone doing drugs? Is that TOS? I'm not sure.
They're like a disease. Chuck finally talked me into using heroin. He said it would make him feel better. So
Oh, wow, he is like, here, let me put the needle in your arm. That's not good. I know you've been considering Chuck E. Cheese to test the nostalgia. They have a new menu item, dessert pizza. Oh my god. Sour Patch Kids pizza? That's... ugh. They have different flavors of like, dessert pizza. Ugh. Sweet chili Hawaiian. No. No.
Nothing was going to happen to me. But before I knew it, I was hooked. Bad. I had a heroin habit as big as Chuck. I hadn't been home in weeks. Oh, Chuck and I were married, but it didn't matter very much. Nothing does. Not when you're on H. All you think about day and night is dope. How much you've got, where to get more, what you'll do if you can't get it. And then they'd got Chuck. They had to eventually, I knew that, but it didn't matter much. Nothing did except age. All of a sudden, it hit me. If Chuck had seen the cops coming, he might have got rid of our supply. That's what happened. Chuck got rid of everything.
Sorry, Baja's brother is texting me. One sec. Gotta find the right emoji, 'cause I'm an adult, and that's how adults talk.
Probably in the garbage disposal.
Winter O'Hare, thank you for subscribing for 13 months, says, I'd give the pizza a shot. I've eaten worse things. I mean, dessert pizza can be good. I've had good dessert pizza. I just don't think Sour Patch Kids dessert pizza sounds good. Dessert pizza. Like, look at this chocolate chip, like, looks almost like s'mores dessert pizza. There used to be a pizza buffet around here that did dessert pizzas, and they were pretty good.
The favorite trick of hypes when they're going to be arrested. But it left me in an awful spot.
Citisaurus says, a friend of mine got the actual research chemical they sprayed on the stuff, and I did too, much of one night, and he had to pretty much make sure I was still breathing. I never said no to anything back in the day. It was always, what do you got? Okay, gimme some. 10.5 years off all the hard shit and alcohol, 4 years off weed. Only quit that due to employment reasons. Well, I'm glad you were able to get off the hard stuff, because that's not good for you. Seriously, though, good for you.
I needed a fix bad. So bad I didn't care whether I lived or died. And I didn't know whether I'd ever get another cap.
In the meantime, Phyllis's parents had nearly gone crazy. They hadn't seen or heard from their daughter in months. Mr. Howard checked every newspaper story that might by any remote chance have to do with Phyllis. But gradually their hopes died. They were almost convinced she was dead.
But I wasn't dead. I tried once to kick off the habit, but I was too far gone. You know, the police say, find a heroin addict and you find a criminal, and that's just about it. If you're hooked bad, it costs about $30 a day for each. Boys get the money by stealing or swiping car parts, maybe by holdups. Girls take up street walking or do what I did, become peddlers themselves. When Chuck went to jail, I used his contacts and peddled dope myself. Sure, I knew it was wrong, but when you're hooked, you can't.
What's $30? Hold on, let's assume this is 1950 or 1555. 1955, just as a random middling date. Oh, duh. Inflation calculator. It would help if I actually typed it into an inflation calculator, wouldn't it? If in 1955, $30 in 2021, that'd be almost $300 a day. According to this.
Can't help yourself. They got me eventually, too, just like they did Chuck. And when I was arrested, I was almost glad. I told them I wanted help. I wanted to try and kick it off. It was horrible. 5 days, and I didn't care whether I lived or died. It feels like your skin is being torn right off you, and then you ache all over and get sick and you can't breathe. Your nose runs and you have a high fever and then you pass out, but when you wake up it starts all over again. 5 days. But I was lucky. I kicked it off, and I've never used dope since. Maybe what happened to me will keep it from happening to somebody else. Or I don't even want to talk about it. And all I hope is that someday I can forget it.
Well, that's Phyllis's story. In the United States of America, 20th century. Unbelievable, isn't it, that such things can happen? Phyllis's case is typical. Most teenagers start off with marijuana. Then they decide to see if heroin has any kick. It does. Sometimes it only takes a few days to find out they can't leave it alone.
It does.
In order to get money to buy it, they turn to crime. And that's the story. There are practically no happy endings when you fool with drugs. Doctors say restoring an addict to normal life is about the toughest thing in medicine. Well, what's the answer? Enforcement? Yes, that's one of them, certainly. In the Far East a few years back, they were lining up...
Maybe we should start some sort of war, a war on drugs, and then surely that'll solve the problem and not make it way worse.
...dope peddlers and shooting them in the back of the head.
Oh,
In the Far East a few years back, they were lining up dope peddlers and shooting them in the back of the head.
Which is bad, right? He's gonna say, which is bad, don't do that.
But it didn't stop addiction. It just made it harder for victims to get the stuff. No, the answer is a simple one. Just use your head. Leave narcotics absolutely alone.
And fun fact, after this video, and after they told people to have good sense, no one ever was addicted to heroin again. We did it. Yay, America!
Remember what happened to Phyllis and others like her. Talk it over with your parents or school counselor, somebody you have confidence in. Some say the Reds are promoting dope traffic in the United States to undermine national morale. They did it in China a few years back.
The USSR, you're not allowed to peddle drugs to American citizens. That's the CIA's job. Kirthan with 100 bits says, funny, I started smoking weed to reduce my opioid intake. Exact opposite of what this video is saying. Well, I hope it helps.
It's certainly true that the increased use of narcotics plays right into their hands. But why not show everybody, including ourselves, that young American men and women have too much intelligence to make such a stupid, ghastly, tragic mistake? Let's make tomorrow's headlines read like this.
Oh, boy. Von Tuck says, here's a favorite of mine for your consideration later. I think we've seen this. Wait, have we? Maybe not. You might be right. All right, these are ads from the 40s?
Now you sit right down here. And don't you touch anything.
All right, Mama.
I know it's the 40s. I know it's, well, that borderline.
Hello, Mary. Why, what's the matter?
Nothing. I'm just sitting here waiting for my mother.
How about a bottle of Coca-Cola?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Tompkins.
Look, here is the new Band-Aid plastic strip with new Super Stick. It sticks better than any other bandage. The proof? Take a dry egg at room temperature. Touch the egg with any other bandage. Brand X, brand Y, brand Z. Not one sticks. But a Band-Aid plastic strip with new Super Stick sticks tight instantly. Watch it again in slow motion. No pressure, yet we can lift the egg, even boil it. And the Band-Aid plastic strip never comes loose.
Maybe you don't want to broil eggs this way, but you do want the extra protection of Band-Aid plastic strips. They take better care of little cuts and scratches. They stay put.
Yes, even in hot, soapy dishwater. Neat, flesh-colored, almost invisible. Band-Aid plastic strips with new Super Stick stick better than any other bandage. Made only by Johnson & Johnson, the most trusted name in surgical dressings. Be sure you get Band-Aid plastic strips.
Pee-wee Reese has a way with Dodger rookies or Sandlot youngsters. Pee-wee, you do a lot of work with boys.
Not work, Al. I like baseball and kids. I enjoy helping teenagers start right.
I thought for a second he was going to say, not at all. I like boys.
That's around shaving age, and you give them pointers on personal appearance, too?
Yes. A boy has more self-respect when he's clean-shaved. I tell him to use a Gillette razor, Al.
You said it, the Gillette Super Speed Razor. And today there are 3. Light for sensitive skin and most younger men. Regular for average skin and beard. Heavy for men who like the heft and feel of a heavier razor. Each is different, precisely engineered. One has the right blade edge exposure, edge angle, and weight to shave you in a breeze. Comfortable, good-looking shaves you may never have had before. And convenient, you change blades and rinse clean so.
If you're someone who does shave, you know, your facial hair for whatever reason, I would highly recommend getting a safety razor like that. That's what I use. Very close shave. You got to be more careful, obviously. But it's a pretty good shave, and it's not too bad for my sensitive skin, so.
Choose your Gillette Super Speed razor.
I've never used it on a leg, just because of how curvy, you know, you got to kind of work around the contours of a leg, and I'd be afraid to cut myself. But, like, on the face, they work pretty well.
$1.29 with Gillette Blue Blade dispenser and handy travel case.
I just know when I shave, I'm trying to get a very close shave because I really hate my facial hair. Like right now, my upper lip's hairier than I'd want it to, but it's still healing from electrolysis. I had a pretty, like, intensive electrolysis treatment last Friday, so, like, it's still pretty scabby and it, like, hurts a little bit, so I can't shave it right now. But, like, when I do and I use that razor, it's so close. It's great. Plus, they're cheaper, because you just gotta buy, straight razors to go in them, which is so much cheaper than, like, the refills on, like, Gillette razors or any other brand.
He needs energy-packed Sunbeam bread. Yes, it's all aboard for fun in the park, but Junior hasn't got energy enough for fun. He'd sure like to ride that horse. Hey, what's this? An energy-packed Sunbeam sandwich. You bet every delicious slice of Sunbeam bread sure does pack a big energy wallop. There's nothing like Sunbeam Energy to help you stay on the beam. Now, look at them go. On Sunbeam Energy, they sure do enjoy life. Everybody needs the kind of real zip and zing pep that delicious Sunbeam bread gives you. Yes, stay on the beam with energy-packed Sunbeam bread. All day long, eat Sunbeam bread and renew energy as you burn it up. Eat delicious Sunbeam...
It's like an It's like an alien made this ad. Eat our nutritional supplement, Sunbeam bread, and then use that energy in your physical activity, and then eat more. Like, we get it. We know how food works.
Bread.
There's no other box of facial tissues like this. Scotty's new Magic Oval box. Only Scotty's give you tissues that float up gently, one at a time, and come out in neat handfuls, too, because there's a Magic Oval inside every new Scotty's box. Only Scotty's Magic Oval can give you tissues that float up, smooth and easy. No tugging, no tearing, no extra tissues tagging along. And Scotty's Magic Oval does even more. It lets you reach in for tissues by the handful, all neatly folded, just right for pocket or purse.
I have never once imagined an ad that has to describe to someone how a tissue box works. Yeah, finally a tissue box with a hole in it. Yay!
Scotty's new Magic Oval box is pretty, too. And inside, soft, strong, sneeze-proof Scotty's. Remember, for tissues that float up smoothly and come out in neatly folded handfuls, look for Scotty's pretty new Magic Oval box, the only one of its kind.
You know, if you were to follow a busy doctor as he makes his daily round of calls, you'd find yourself having a mighty busy time keeping up with him. Time out for many men of medicine usually means just long enough to enjoy a cigarette. And because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose. In a repeated national survey, doctors in all branches of medicine, doctors in all parts of the country were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" Once again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Yikes.
Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment?
One of the inciting incidents of Mad Men in the first episode is the government has cracked down on health claims and smoking ads, and that makes Don, oh gosh, why can't I remember his name? The main character of Mad Men, it spurs him to basically create the concept of modern advertising. Don Draper, thank you.
See how Camels agree with your throat.
Because this used to be a regular thing, claiming your cigarette was the healthy cigarette, or most doctors prefer this cigarette, or whatever. That was a thing for a while until the government was like, no, you can't make these claims anymore.
See how mild and good tasting a cigarette can be.
Hi, kids.
Hi,
Kids, let's all sing the Kids song. If you want shoes with lots of pep, get Kids, Kids, Kids. Or bounce and zoom in every step, get Kids, Kids, Kids. You'll be a champion with style.
Zithura says, this is what I heard on Jack Benny.
Every day, more and more people are discovering something extra in smoking pleasure.
Raleigh? Oh, no thanks. I have a pack. Well, I didn't know you'd switch. I just did. Why? I got embarrassed borrowing yours. Besides, I like that Raleigh taste. Oh, don't do that. Why not? The coupons. Save the Raleigh coupon. What for? What for? These flower shears? That lawn sprinkler? I got them free. Free for Raleigh coupons.
How much are you smoking that you got a free sprinkler?
So if you're not saving that coupon, I'll take it. Oh, no, you don't. I'll just keep the coupon.
Raleigh coupons, good for free gifts. Buy Raleigh's by the carton and get 4 extra coupons, 14 in all. With a filter or without, look for the pack with a coupon on the back.
Oh,
Smoke
Jesus,
Raleigh
can you imagine?
Cigarettes.
Like smoking cigarettes is bad enough, but can you imagine being like, I prefer my cigarettes without a filter? Yes, please, I want tobacco in my mouth.
All a half a mile. They're tough, they last a long, long while. Kids, kids, kids. There's a pair of smart youngsters. Hi, kids.
Hi, kiddo.
Say, why do you kids wear kids?
So I can run faster and jump farther. So I can win more often.
Right. Always look for the label big and blue. Kids, kids, kids. That spells out U.S. kids for you. Kids, kids, kids. Those shockroof arches sure are neat. The right support for growing feet. So be a champion athlete. Kids, kids, kids. Product of United States Rubber.
Jesus. Mike Mack says, man, WandaVision lost its touch with these latest episodes, and Von Tuck says, what's my line as a 50s game show? A gold mine of 50s cheese and commercials. Okay, I'll keep it in mind.
See these 2 portable radios? Well, watch this. Let her go, Betsy. Sorry, friend. You old-style portables have to go. But look at our new RCA Victor portable radio. Came through without a chip. Here's the world's first and only portable radio in the non-breakable impact case. So rugged, it's the only radio case with a 5-year guarantee against chipping, cracking, or breaking in normal use. Of course, a tube might jar loose, but that's easily fixed. The important thing is RCA Victor's non-breakable
tubes. Tea with Goblin says, God, imagine being a bored housewife at home in the 50s with this kind of shit on the telly all day, with nary a Hitachi vibrator to be found. No wonder they were constantly sloshed.
impact case means no chipping, no cracking, no breaking. And hear that tone. It's RCA Victor's great golden throat sound. See the world's only portables with the non-breakable impact case as low as $27.95 at your RCA Victor dealer.
Here's Bob Graham of Indianapolis, all set to prove the hand is quicker than the eye. Watch closely now. You may want to mystify your friend. After the string is threaded through the straw, he bends the straw and straightens the string. Next, he clips off the peak of the straw and throws it away. Now, he puts the straws together and pulls the string through. Presto! It's still in one piece. Believe it or not. Say, that's slick. Come on, tell us how you did it, Bob. Well, then at least tell us where we can learn tricks like that. Thanks. Come on, folks, let's look. Well, it's the famous Bike Party and Magic Stunts book. You can get one for 2 whiz wrappers and 6 cents in coin or stamps. The whiz bar is made in the famous Bike kitchens. Is cellophane wrapped for freshness, supplies quick energy. The world's biggest candy value, only a nickel. Sold everywhere, and boy, it's good. Remember, get your Party and Magic Stunts book by sending 2 whiz wrappers and 6 cents in coin or stamps to
those look
Bike
terrible.
Company, Department 1, Chicago.
What are those?
Full instructions on every whiz wrapper.
Hey, it's Hasbro. Hasbro makes toys. What's new, Hasbro? Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head with their own cars and trailers. That's what's new. See, Mr. Potato Head has a car and boat trailer. And there's a car and shopping trailer for his wife, Mrs. Potato.
Oh, Mr. Potato Head, you have a lovely wife. Has anyone ever told you that?
Head. It's such fun to do, and so easy. Like this. Take any fruit or vegetable. Just stick in...
Did you guys not know they used to put them on potatoes? The original Mr. and Mrs. Potato Heads just came with the parts, and then you'd put them in a potato. They didn't start putting in the plastic potatoes until later.
Eyes, then ears, and then the mouth. You can make the funniest looking people in the whole world. Potato Head people look different every time you make them. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head with cars and trailers come in $1 and $2 sizes.
Yeah, and then eat it for dinner.
What else is new, Hasbro? A vanity case with toy cosmetics and beautiful accessories and real-looking doctor and nurse kits.
Hasbro makes great toys. It's fun to play with Hasbro.
Interesting. Oh god, this is another Lucky Strike.
Lucky Strike. First again with Tobacco Men. First again with Tobacco Men.
Like the It's Toasted campaign. I think in Mad Men, Don Draper comes up with the It's Toasted thing. Mike Mack says, best potato head is tortilla head. Toy Story 3's good.
LSMFT, LSMFT.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, in a cigarette, it's the tobacco that counts. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
So for your own real deep down smoking enjoyment, smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
Don't smoke, kids. Not good.
Bulwark of the American form of government is education. For true democracy can exist only among a people prepared from childhood for the responsibilities of citizenship. Recognizing this fact, the American people have built up, over the generations, a vast nationwide system of public schools.
Don't worry, the Republicans will start destroying that institution very shortly.
Intended to give every child in the United States the opportunity for a thorough education. years, U.S. schools have been forced to hire some 125,000 emergency teachers who lack the qualifications ordinarily
Yeah, we've watched Boys Beware on this before.
required in their states.
It's messed up.
Some of them never got beyond the primary grades, and most of them have had no professional training for their job.
Why did the party change? Civil Rights Amendment or Civil Rights Act. Mr. Sir Knight Kingyo says, I can't believe the cigarettes were marketed at soldiers. Jesus Christ. I mean, of course they were. They were aggressively. Like, cigarette companies would, at either low prices or donate cigarettes to the troops, knowing that once they came back home, they would continue to smoke.
Jobs.
Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus I know this will come out right in a minute. If you'll just be quiet.
Fast Lunacy says, my dad would tell me about driving his aunt to and from her chemo. She'd always demand that they stop off and pick up a new carton of cigs. Cigarettes are the worst. They are. Mike Max says, so basically the Republicans became the enemy they hated. Ironic.
Working in public schools as emergency teachers are many men and women who, by character and temperament, are wholly unfit to deal with children. Emotionally unstable teachers with little or no understanding of child psychology may have a permanently damaging effect upon the growing personalities of the young.
And now we come to the state of Arkansas. Well?
Please, it is pronounced Arkansas.
What's that? Arkansas.
Upon the growing personalities of the young.
And now we come to the state of Arkansas. Well?
Please, it is pronounced Arkansas.
What's that?
That has the same energy of the vegan teacher when she was like, what the fuck is this?
Please, it is pronounced Arkansas. I know because I used to live there.
How dare you correct my pronunciation? Come up here this instant, you little upstart.
I'm sorry you had teachers like this, Mr. Blast.
I'll show you who's teaching this class.
Aware of what teaching profession to dignity and self-respect. For there is no substitute for the stimulating teacher, capable of developing in the young the kind of critical, examining intelligence which makes them valuable citizens.
Of course, there's no chance of getting the atomic energy plan adopted. You never could get all the nations to agree on it.
Anonymous Cheer,
Why do you
thanks
think
for the 100
so?
bits.
Oh, everybody knows that.
And who do you mean by everybody?
Why, people. That's what people say.
Does this remind anyone about the formation of our federal government after the American Revolution?
A lot of people said the states could never agree on a constitution.
But some people thought they could, and they finally did.
So when everybody says a thing, that usually means not everybody, but somebody.
I think Donald Trump needed this teacher. Everybody's saying I'm the best, okay? Everyone is saying.
I see what you mean.
Then before we believe anything, shouldn't we always ask ourselves first, what
Anonymous
evidence
Cheer,
do
thanks
I
for 100
have that
bits.
this is true? Just what people say is never enough.
To drive home the fact that good schools...
Good ending. Great. Thanks. This is a driver's ed film called The Last Date. Mr. Sir Knight Kingyo says, got scared as a kid for correcting a teacher when she pronounced Oregon. Oregon. It's pronounced Oregon. So dramatic. Oopsie, didn't mean to do that, sorry.
Again. Dear Margot, finally with me from the hospital, and now I'm home again. But, in a way, I almost wish I had died in there. Would have been easier, perhaps. When I think what happened to Nick, and well,
hey, hurry up, man.
I can look from my window and...
Spoilers, Nick's gonna die. Anonymous cheer, thanks for another 100 bits.
And see all the rest of the gang having fun. All having fun. But I've had my last date. Who would want to go out with me now? Not even Larry.
I'm basically a black widow. Adia Blue says, waiting until
Some of the
marriage, a
fault
guide
was
to
mine,
holding hands.
I know. And yet, it all started so innocently. The day of the big football game.
Flashback. Mike Mack says Reagan versus Trump. Is that a question? Is that a statement? I don't know what you mean.
Andersonville High was playing the...
Ask me again when we have, 30 or 40 years of hindsight on Trump's presidency to see the long-lasting effects.
Mooseheart team that day, and both Larry and Nick were wonderful. Nick made 2 touchdowns himself. Oh, it was terribly exciting. But then after the game, when Kathy Robbins, she's my best friend, and I were waiting outside the stadium dressing room for Nick and Larry, she made me think a little by something she said.
Oh, wasn't he wonderful, Kathy?
Who, Nick? Oh, yes, he's quite a flash. But did you notice who ran interference for him? Larry, your other boyfriend, remember?
You did? Oh, of course, I should have known. But they're both so... Well, it's a problem to decide which one I like the best.
Gee, I wish I had that kind of a problem. Which one of them are you going to let take you home, Jeannie?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't decided. Of course, Nick has a hot rod car his father gave him last week. Sure is snazzy.
Yes, but the way he drives.
Nick's a good driver. Why, his own father showed him how. Of course, he may be a little reckless, but...
Well, I wouldn't ride with him for all the tea in China.
Tea doesn't come from China, silly. It comes from Ceylon or somewhere. Yes, I was rather sure of myself that day. It was wonderful to have my choice between the 2 most popular boys.
Hey, that reminds me. How would you all like to take a ride in my new monster?
Oh, it's Darren from Bewitched. I think the first Darren from Bewitched. I don't know if it's... Was that? Yeah, I think that's the first Darren from Bewitched. Good night, Cosmic Cats. Thanks for coming to the stream.
My dad gave it to me last week. It's really a souped-up hot rod. Do better than 90 without even half trying.
Oh, I'd love that.
But, Gene, I thought we'd... That is, I thought we were going to... Well, anyway, I can't join you. I have the family car here, and I have to take it home.
You better count...
How many Darrens were in Bewitched 2? The original Darren got replaced, like, halfway through the show or something. I don't know why.
Yeah, 2. I've had 1 ride with this candidate for teen-a-cide. I don't think I could stand another one.
Candidate for what?
Teen-a-cide. Don't you ever listen to Dan Bacon, the disc jockey on the radio? He talks about it all the time. He calls it the fine art of killing yourself before you're 20. You do it with an automobile. He says all you have to do is treat everyone else on the road like an unwanted relative or a mother-in-law. Forget all you've ever learned about being polite and considerate to others, and you'll make it. That's what the man says, and I believe him. Come Come on, Larry.
Mike Max says, remember when Trump said he was a Democrat? Do I think he could have won as a Democrat if he espoused left-wing, or at least centrist, talking points and his rhetoric was quite different? Like, I think if he behaved the exact same way, but just had, like, left or centrist rhetoric in terms of, like, universal health care or something like that, I think not. I think he'd still be a dick and he'd still say stupid stuff, and I think the left tends to care about optics more than the right, and Trump has very bad optics.
Hey, take me home, huh?
So long, kids.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Now, what do you suppose got into her? Teen-a-cide. That's a lot of nonsense. Besides, my old man taught me how to drive. Ought to see the way he can wheel a car around. He's never had an accident yet. He's only been arrested 3 times. Oh, beautiful, shall we be off into the wild blue yonder? Come on, I'll give you a real ride.
It was a real ride, all right. We went the long way out along the turnpike, and we went fast. By the time we got to my house, I was windblown and almost exhausted because the way Nick drove was, well, pretty frightening. Still, it was thrilling, too. Nick wanted a date for that evening to go dancing at the lake, but I turned him down. Somehow I felt uneasy about riding with him at night. He didn't take it very well. He was angry as he went away.
Oh, yeah. That's a red flag. Don't go on a date with him. Bardlock Moses says, got here late, hope I didn't miss much. Just a bunch of 1950s educational films and stuff.
And then, as I started into the house, I got a big surprise. Larry was sitting on our porch swing waiting for me. Larry! What in the world are you doing here?
I had to talk to you, Jean, and... well, your mother said I could wait for you and then stay for dinner. Where have you been?
Nick and I took the long way home. He's a terrific driver.
I see. Sit down for a minute.
All right. Now, what was it that you wanted to talk to me about that's so important?
Well, look, you remember what Kathy told us about teen-a-cide this afternoon?
Yes, I remember. Nick thought it was pretty silly.
Yes, I expected he would. And that's what I want to talk to you about. Jean, I wish you wouldn't ride in that hot rod of Nick's. I mean, the way he drives, it's dangerous.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Larry Gray. I think you're jealous, that's all. How possessive can a man be? You don't own me.
No, I don't. But I hope to someday. And I want you all in one piece.
Oh, God, no! Let's roll that one back. I gotta hear that one again. What a smooth... How smooth.
Jealous, that's all. How possessive can a man be? You don't own me.
No, I don't. But I hope to someday.
Oh, yikes. Mike Mack says even back then, teens were played by adults. Yep.
And I want you all in one piece.
Oh, God. It's John Doyle with a time machine.
Look, I'm not a square or a killjoy. You know that. And if I wanted to, I could drive faster and crazier than Nick or any other hot rod guy in the world. But it's plain stupid, for my money, to risk your own life and the lives of a lot of other people just to show off the fact that you can operate a car. Any kid can drive an automobile. What's so special about it? I'm sorry. It's just that I like you so much that I don't want anything to happen to you.
All right, children, dinner's ready.
Yes, it almost turned into a quarrel. But I was really touched by Larry's concern about me. And more than that, I had another feeling. He was sweet. So, after dinner, Larry went home to change his clothes. I had agreed to go with him to the lake for a few dances at the casino. I put on my prettiest dress. Oh, it was a lovely evening. And somehow Larry looked awfully handsome. More so than I'd ever seen him before. Oh, it was nice to know someone cared so much about me. Certainly was a lot different riding with Larry than it had been with Nick. You drive like a slowpoke. You ought to take lessons from Nick. He really goes.
Yeah, I know. I've seen him.
Slogan of the 50s, all men are creeps.
Oh, hurry up. You can beat that red light.
Maybe. But maybe somebody else on the side street is trying to beat it, too.
Wow. Von Tux, you gave me the exact amount of bits to make
Because, darling, I don't want to go over the speed limit.
Monthly revenue the same number all the way across. Perfect. That's a good screenshot. I like that.
Lovely music, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Going to be a nice night, too. Moon and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now we bring you that man who spins platters while he chins and chatters, Dan Bacon.
Good evening, hey, that's the disc jockey Kathy was talking about this afternoon.
Without the eggs, I hope. And I've got a lot of select to twist tonight. But before we start, I want a word with any of you teenage ladies and gentlemen who may be listening. You're all such nice kids. But tell me, are you still alive? You are? Good. Then you haven't committed teen-a-cide yet, have you? What is teen-a-cide? Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Teen-a-cide is the fine art of killing yourself and maybe somebody else before you reach the age of 20. You do it with an automobile. It's easy, really. All you have to do...
He's corny. Besides, I think you knew he was going to be on that station, so you deliberately... Oh, I'm sick and tired of hearing about this teen-a-cide thing.
It's not a... Wow, they really wanted to make that a word, huh? That's a fail.
Hurry up, will you?
Also, how would he know who was going to be on the radio and what they were going to say? That's not how the radio works.
The dance will be over before we get there. But Larry didn't hurry. He stayed strictly within the speed limit. Oh, I suppose I was pretty unreasonable about the whole thing. But to me then, it seemed like much ado about nothing at all.
Mike says, no wonder she's single, what a Karen. The movie Heathers was about teen-a-cide.
When we got to the Lake Casino, I stopped being mad. Hearing the music, I wanted to dance and have fun. Larry's a marvelous dancer, and I was glad we'd gone there. He was a darling. He even tried to kiss me while we were dancing. But suddenly, I opened my eyes and there was Nick.
He's gonna go home with Nick, and they're gonna get in a car accident, and Nick's gonna die.
Oh, hi, Nick. Didn't expect to see you here.
No, I expect you didn't. May I have a dance with your girl?
Well, sure, if she's willing. But just one dance, mister.
That's all I want. One dance.
Nick was furious with me. Why had I refused a date with him and then gone out with Larry?
Carney says, what is this? You must listen to authority?
But his attitude made me miserable. The whole evening was spoiled. After a while, though, he got over his mad a little, and finally we made up. And all was forgiven.
Come and take a little ride around the lake?
Oh, I couldn't do that. Larry's waiting to dance with me.
He's over there talking to a bunch of the guys on the team. It'll only take about 15 minutes. He'll never even miss you.
Well, I felt I did owe Nick some consideration for having gone out with Larry instead of him. And on an impulse, I agreed to take a short ride. Not more than 15 minutes. Not more than 15 minutes.
Please don't drive quite as fast as you did this afternoon, Nicky.
What's the matter? You've been listening to that teen-a-cide nonsense some more? I've been driving since I was 12 years old. Like I told you before, my own father taught me all the tricks.
Be careful, Nick.
Don't worry, there's nothing to it. Watch this. Just give him the horn and make him get out of the way.
There wasn't any doubt that Nick knew how to handle a car. But I couldn't help remembering something.
Teen-a-cide is the fine art of killing yourself and maybe somebody else before you reach the age of 20. You do it with an automobile. It's easy, really.
Do you have to take corners on two wheels?
Why not? Two wheels are better than none. That's what my old man always says.
Please, Nicky. At the second red light, you run.
Oh, those things are for old women and scaredy cats. I know what I'm doing.
Mike Mack says she friend-zoned a guy for not being fast, but complained that Nick is driving fast. Karen 101.
I'm always in a hurry,
I don't like
honey.
the term
Always in a hurry.
friend-zoned.
Watch me make this baby walk away from him.
Teen-a-cide is the fine art of killing yourself and maybe somebody else before you reach the age of 20. You do it with an automobile. Teen-a-cide. 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 Teen-a-cide.
That blasted truck.
Oh, no, Nick, no, not on the curb. There's another car coming. No, Nick, no.
Good edit.
My face.
Oh God, is her face messed up or something?
It would have been better if I had died in the hospital than to look the way I do.
Oh God, it's the 1950s, and my entire value in society is based on my looks and ability to breed. Therefore, I'd rather be dead.
I couldn't even go to Nick's funeral. Or the funerals of all those people in the other car.
I don't know if they want you to go to those ones. Von Tuck says, teen-a-cide, they must have merch or something the way they pushed that word.
And as I said before, I've had my last date.
Show her face. Show her face. Show her face. Boo! Show me your face. Yikes. I at least wish they would have done, like, a David Cronenberg. I know Cronenberg was later. I'm just saying, like, give me something. Give me something, you know? His faithful servant, thank you for following. Oh, great, it's a troll. Do I stay inside all day because you hate nature and the natural order? No, these days it's mostly because of the pandemic. It's coming to an end, though, so, you know, that's fun. Past year or so, though, it's been a, you know, a pandemic thing. You'll pray for me? Great. Have fun. You thought outside? Okay, funny. Jesus loves me? That's great. Good for him. Most people do. Yeah. Oh, it's that person that thinks they're in charge of Canada again. I know this is off topic, but they made a new video. Oh, this is from November 9th, 2020. It's not even a new one. Hold on. Oh, this is the same person, but these are old videos. This is not how he made me. That's okay. I decided I liked myself better this way. Oh, you didn't have to ban them. It's okay. I was having fun, but it's okay. You can leave them banned. Not a big deal. Von Tuck says, found her face. I wish. Does Jesus have a parasocial relationship with Hannah now? Yes, for sure. What else can we watch? I Love Lucy cigarette commercials?
Oh, thank you, dear.
Hey, the last one. You better get another pack.
Okay.
Thank you. You probably think that we're making a big fuss over a cigarette. Well, sure. You don't really have to keep this wonderful new king-size Philip Morris cigarette
in this vault. We keep our cigarettes and the original pilot to Star Trek. We're gonna leave it in there until we need that episode with Pike, and then we're gonna burn it so no one has to see that terrible pilot ever again.
It's just our way of telling you that they are kind of precious. The finest king-size cigarette in America.
For those who don't know, Desilu Productions, which is, you know, Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, basically single-handedly made Star Trek a thing because she liked the show, apparently. So
today, smooth, mild, and mellow, and easy on your throat. How about you trying them yourself?
Yes,
just
really.
Call for Philip Morris. King size or regular.
Desilu Productions was a big
you're gonna love him.
Producer
and
on
we're
Star
gonna
Trek.
Love you. Hey,
Tell that story.
You
That's
said
the
it
story.
So beautifully.
Lucy from I Love Lucy liked the idea of Star Trek and helped make the show. She was a financial, you know, person. That comes up in like every Star Trek documentary I've ever seen. I'm surprised you didn't know that. Von Tuck says, interesting how the pilot was pretty sexist and the first officer was a woman. Roddenberry was a conflicted fella. Yeah. His relationship with women was, of its time, let's say. He cheated on his wife a lot, or his girlfriend, to my knowledge, so. Oh yeah, you haven't seen TOS, I remember now. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a good one. Dead air. We've seen Mr. Bungle on here before. How to say no. Moral maturity.
How to say no. That's the subject under discussion. And there are plenty of times in life when you have to say no. Fortunately, sometimes it's easy. Saying no to the time is simple as this.
No.
Thanks for asking me, but no. Yes, sometimes just plain no is best. But sometimes such a direct no would offend people, cause you to lose your friends, make you seem to disapprove of them.
And if you just take a subscription for only 1 year, I can get that bicycle.
Well, new suit, new hair, new gloves. Do you like them?
Oh no. Is he gonna be like, no, I hate it. You're ugly.
Well, we're through with that guy.
Yeah. Too chicken to pick up some dames with us. You're coming, aren't you, Johnny?
Well, how can you say no and still keep your friends? Now, that's quite a problem sometimes. Well, let's sit in on a discussion of that problem. Come in. Here's some of my friends. I think you'll find they have helpful opinions. I'd like to present Marty and Lucy, Nora, and Howie.
Hi, gang.
Oh, and I'm...
You can tell Howie's the jokester of the group because he did one of these. That's what counts for being funny in the 50s.
Bill. Well, we're going to discuss saying no and still keeping your friends. But you'll see better what we mean if we get right to our examples. Marty, I believe you had an incident you wanted to
That was the
discuss.
1950s version of a Fortnite dance.
Well, the fellows and I often stop somewhere for a snack after a game or after practice. It's usually just an ordinary place where you can get a good sandwich. But sometimes the fellows pick a tavern. And then...
No service here. Well, how about it? Let's have a drink.
A drink? Sure, swell idea.
Well, I dare you. What do you mean, dare? A drink never hurt anybody, eh, Marty?
Well,
I'll be, boy. I'll have a beer.
Me too.
Beer? Huh. Scotch and soda for us, eh, Marty?
Well, that's the situation. What can I say? 'Cause, well, I want to get along well with those fellows on the team. I don't want them to think I'm a drip.
Well, couldn't you just tell them you're in training?
Well, those fellows are supposed to be in training, too.
Well, that makes it harder.
No wonder we lost so many games.
I'll bet they really feel a little guilty themselves if they're in training. Why couldn't you just order something else?
Maybe. How? What would I say?
Well, just whatever you would say anyway, if you were ordering. Don't
We've
you think that
seen
he should
Boys
be
Beware.
direct?
Sure. Yeah, I
Thank
think
you,
so.
though.
Without making any fuss about it. Just order what you want.
Well, let's see. How would that go?
Scotch and soda for us, eh, Marty?
I'll take a double hamburger with French fries.
No drink?
No, I'm hungry. Yeah, I think that might work. You know, I'll try it next time.
I don't think it'll work at all. Not if the boys are at all insistent. Maybe they'll let it go at that, but there are a lot of kids who won't give in so easily. Let me tell you, happens all the time at pajama parties, for example. We get all settled down and the hostess mother's safely out of the way. And then...
I brought cocaine.
I'm dying for a smoke. How about you girls? Mary?
Well, thanks.
Nora?
No, thanks. I've got some gum somewhere.
Light? Sure you won't, Nora?
No, thanks, really. I'd rather have the gum.
Oh, come on, Nora. Be a good sport.
Yes, try it.
Just this once. Here.
Mixed
Take a puff
Gothy
on
Queer
mine.
says, I've never had a cigarette.
No,
I tried
just
one
no to some people.
like
Well, I don't
twice.
think she's very
Neither
much
time I liked it, and I was just
If
like,
she
nah.
forces things on you like that,
It was
there's some
stupid to try
consolation
in the
in
first
that.
place. I was a
But
teenager.
seriously,
But I
can't
tried
give
it
up a
twice, and
friend
I was like, this is disgusting. I'm good. And I never did it again, so that's good.
just because of one little thought like that. How could I say no and really make it stick?
Why don't you try some parlor tricks?
Mike Mack says, this reminds me of the peer pressure video that the Scooby Gang see in the first live-action movie. Yeah, I mean, that's based on stuff like this.
You can always distract attention with a good card trick. Here,
Oh,
take card,
oh,
take card, take card. Come on.
You're the one that's distracting now.
No, wait. Distraction is an answer. Oh, I don't mean card tricks, but you can say no and change the subject. Bring up the latest gossip.
Sure, maybe.
Could be.
You see?
Oh, Howie. Well, let's see how that might work.
Here. Take a puff on mine.
No, thanks, Rose.
Oh, go ahead.
Say, have you heard about Ted and Margaret breaking up?
No. Well, who's she out after now?
Yes, what's the story? Well, I guess that Ted is... That may be a pretty rosy version of what would happen. It might work, though.
Oh, see, distraction. Change the subject.
It takes more than changing the subject to... Well, what about the problem of
Okay, I'm over this one. It's boring. What's the B... Mr. B Natural. I guess MST3K did this one based on the title. How many people were in high school band? I was very bad at it. What did I play? Trumpet and tuba. I played percussion for a very short time because I wanted to try it, but trumpet and tuba mainly. I started on trumpet in middle school, and then in high school they wanted to we already had a bunch of trumpet players, but we had no tuba players. So the teacher came to me and was like, "Do you want to try the the tuba?" And I was like, "Fine." Relatively similar instruments, so I was able to do that a little bit, but I was bad at both, so I wasn't really effective.
Boy, am I glad to see you. What's that? What do you mean, who's talking? It's me, that's who, Mr. B Natural. The second note from the left. As natural a B as you'll ever see. Wait a minute. Hold the music. Maybe we can make things a little clearer around here. There. How's that? Now move in a little closer, friend.
A musical note is talking to me.
Mr. B Natural, at your service. The spirit of music, that's me. The spirit of fun in music. And I've been around an awful long time.
Why does B natural get to be the spirit of music? Why not an A flat or literally any other note? Why are you so special?
I did. And your grandmother. And don't be too sure I wasn't in the garden with Mr. and Mrs. Adam. Why, you should know me. The spirit of music's inside all of you. In you, in you, in all of you. Right there, waiting to be found, waiting to be expressed. All you gotta do is to want music, to want the fun of it. And when you do, just call on me and I'll pop right out to help you. Generally, but when I get a message for help, I go off to appear before people, especially young. I can do them some good. Oh, I've known an awful lot of people in my time.
Wait, Mr. B Natural? Is B Natural a femboy? Malachi the Evil Wizard, thank you for subscribing for 8 months with a 6-month streak.
Got a whale of a lot of swell stories to tell. One of the nicest is about my good friend Buzz Turner. A cute little guy I first met when he was in junior high. 12 and a half years old. Want to see what happened? Come on, let's go meet Buzz. Did you ever notice the excitement in a school corridor at the end of the day's classes? More energy than you can shake a stick at. The kind of energy that makes fun and laughter and music. They were all there, with all their young energy. The first time I really met Buzz Turner, including Jeannie, the cutest girl in school, including Buzz. Nothing much wrong with Buzz, a good 12-year-old kid, with a lot of normal 12-year-old problems.
GNC?
Just a little shy, maybe. Wondering what it takes to become
gender
part of the group.
non-conforming, probably.
To really belong.
That took me a second,
Buzz
sorry.
was searching. And sometimes when a kid is searching for the right answers, it hurts a little.
How do you like the new clarinet, Jim? Hey.
Oh, let's see, Fred. Boy, is that ever the most.
You should hear the tone. Wow.
Hey, Peg, want to see the step I was telling you about? Oh, sure. Come on, follow me. Makes the music, huh?
All right, let's go.
Let's.
Hey,
Hey.
boy.
Hey, that's pretty good. Hey, gang, tell you what. How about coming by my house for a while? I got some great new records.
Not me, Jeannie. Band practice. I wouldn't miss it for anything. I'm bucking for the first clarinet chair.
Yeah, for you.
Come on, Betty, grab your horn. We'll be late.
Okay. Bye. 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 Honest, these records are the greatest. Let's see now, we've got 2. Wanna come? We can dance.
No, thanks. I don't know how... Well, I mean, I got some reading to do. You know, that big history essay.
But that's not due for 2 weeks.
I know, Jeannie. Well, I want to get started.
Oh. Well, come on then. Okay. What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
Mr. B gave them music but no rhythm. Hey, Mr. B is a B sharp, not a time signature, okay? That's someone else's job.
Looks like this boy might be needing me. Well, that's what I'm here for. Better wait till he calls on me, though. Till he reaches for the spirit.
All right, dear. It's 6 o'clock. Yeah. Oh, don't forget the cake. It's paid for, yes. Okay, bye, dear. Buzz, home so early, dear? Well, yeah, I got some reading. Oh. Well, it's such a beautiful day. Daddy won't be home till 6, maybe? No, Mom. No, I'd better go up to my room and do the reading. All right, son. Buzz? Maybe we'll all go for a nice ride after dinner if Daddy's not too tired. Okay.
service.
Oh my God.
Mr. Be Natural, at your service.
Well, what are you? Where'd you come from?
Oh, the voice crack is strong with this one.
Somewhere. Do I look funny?
Well, it's kind of a surprise. Mr. B what?
Natural. Shouldn't be surprised, boy. Whether you know it or not, you sent for me. When you reached for that music over there to make you feel better, I got your message. You awakened me.
Well, you mean you've been hiding here in my room all that time, and I never even noticed?
No, boy, I don't mean that. I mean, you awakened the spirit of music inside you. That's me, your spirit of music. That's my name, boy. Be natural. Why, there's nothing more natural than feelings of music inside of people. Look here, boy. You sing a baby a lullaby, and it coos. Expressing your feelings with music is being as natural as you can be.
Gee, I don't know, Mr. B. Well, I guess I like music okay, but I don't know about making music myself. I don't think I'd be any good.
A boy your age, talking like that. Blasphemy! Look here, I've been visiting
Burn him
with
at the
an 8-year-old
stake.
friend of mine who woke me up recently. Talked him into playing the French horn, I did. You should hear him. Boom, 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 boom. Took to it like that, because he wanted to. He wanted the fun of it. That's why he can play that piece so easy. Wait till he grows up and finds out how hard it is.
Wow, what a dick.
It's because he's young. He's not afraid.
Wish I could. Wish I could get in a band or something and be as... well, be like Fred is.
Now, none of that. None of that. I'm here to help you, not to help you feel sorry for yourself. Sure you can be popular. Sure you can be in a band. And wait till you see the kicks you'll get out of it, Buzz. The glamour of the uniform. The thrill of traveling for band competitions. The team spirit you'll learn. Just like being a member of a football team. And most of all, Buzz, fun, fun, fun! That's what I can do for you, if you want me to. If you'll keep me awake.
I think Mr. B is a disaster buy based on how he's sitting.
Inside there.
Are you a musician, Mr.
Yeah,
B?
see, someone
You
else
play
said
any
the same
instruments?
thing.
Me? They're members of my family, boy. I love them all. Watch. Presto. Allegro. Vivace.
Gosh, Mr. B, you even talk music.
Anybody can, Buzz. Be natural. Talk out what you feel with music. Look here. Do you think this is
One
just a
sec.
trumpet? No. It's the feelings you want to feel. The things you want to say to the world. Put a trumpet to your lips and it becomes pride. Confidence. The mood of a happy king. A clarinet's not just a clarinet. It's a happy smile.
I hate this.
A trombone can let you show the world a big laugh. When you want to show dignity, Buzz, try a French horn.
I'm skipping past this part. I don't care.
Now you got me working for you. Your natural spirit of music. You got work to do. Gotta make up for lost time. We'll go see the school bandmaster. I'll pick you up after school tomorrow. We're on our way, Buzz.
1 second.
1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1
See you later, Daddy Sume.
Well, hello there.
Afternoon, Mr. Barton. I'm Buzz Turner.
Oh, yes, Buzz. I've seen you around school many times. What can I do for you this afternoon?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Barton. I was thinking of maybe learning to play an instrument and wondering what you thought about it and all.
Well, Buzz, I can think of nothing better when a young person really wants music. Sit down, will you? Let's talk for a little. Tell me, Buzz, have you ever seen any of our band concerts?
Yep, one with my parents.
Did you like it?
Well, yeah.
Now, you see, I was there to guide the boy if he needed me. But as long as he was doing all right by himself, I stayed out of sight. The bandmaster picked up his enthusiasm where I left off. Told him wonderful stories he did. Told him how easy it would be to learn through the school music education program. Told him how we could look forward to learning poise and confidence through music. Physical and mental coordination, improved posture and breath control, a command of all the fundamental processes, eyes, ears, fingers, all the rest. Told them of the fun in working together as a disciplined team in a band. Told them all. Yes, sir, bandmasters like him have been talking the spirit of Mr. B. Natural for a long time.
Well, the main thing is, Buzz, that, we teachers feel that music for music's sake is very worthwhile. But what we're really after is using music as an aid to the complete education of a young person. Do you understand what I'm getting at, son?
Well, yeah.
Be natural.
Be natural.
Huh?
Music helps you to be natural, to be a better person.
Well, that's a swell way of putting it, Buzz. But come on. Let's pick out an instrument for you.
Oh, don't worry about him. I'm your spirit of music. I belong to you. Nobody else can hear me or see me.
Have you any idea what instrument you'd like to play, Buzz?
No, I don't think it matters much.
Okay, let's check the chart. Let's see, are your teeth even or uneven? Even, I'd say. Number one.
What?
Now your jaw...
I never once in joining band was asked about my teeth.
Jaws round or sharp? Seem round. Number three. Now, how about your lips?
Eugenics-based instrument selection.
Or thin?
Medium.
I'd say medium. That's a 1-3-6 combination. You should do pretty well with a cornet, trumpet.
Trumpet sounds great.
Trumpet it is.
Gosh, Mr. Barton, maybe 12 and a half is a little late to start. Well, I mean, to get in the band and all. I never really had any musical ability, and I don't know if...
All right.
Buzz is high to infinity
before.
and beyond. I wish he was.
Now, let's just see. Buzz, do you know the start of the Star-Spangled Banner?
Oh, yeah. Oh, say, can you see?
Well, which note was higher, the O or the say?
The O.
The O. Well, you've got pitch understanding. And I can tell from the way you walk, you've got rhythm. You're on your way. The only thing to keep you from music now is laziness. Whenever you're ready to get started, you come see me.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Barton. Come on, Mr. B.
Welcome, son. Mr. Who?
You heard what he said, boy. We're on our way. Now, the next step is to see your parents. It's easy to have fun with music, but the more skill you have, the more fun you have. You gotta have your own horn, boy.
Right.
I'll tell you what. You go downstairs and you talk to...
Is this where the sales pitch comes in? Hydrate. I have very little water, but I'll do it.
Want something, son?
No, nothing special.
Come on in and join us.
Okay. In a minute, Dad.
Lorebog with 30 bits says, why is this series
Well?
full of weird Warlock patrons, Hannah?
Now remember,
It's a trope
I'm
in
with you.
educational films.
Mom, Dad, excuse me. There's something I'd like to take up with you.
Okay, son, what is it?
no trouble in there. The boy's growing sure of himself now. He sees a way to many things through music.
Okay, let's get to the store.
A half dozen new reeds for your saxophone. By the way, how are you doing in the 5th grade band in school?
Oh, swell. I've got...
He's a robot. How are you doing, human, in your 5th grade band in school?
First chair.
Congratulations, that's fine, young
Blue
lady.
says, Mom, Dad, I want to be a femboy like Mr. Natural.
Goodbye.
Bye. Hello, may I help you?
Yes, I believe so. The boy here would like to start on the trumpet.
Well, you're joining a mighty happy family, young man.
Perhaps my son won't like my bringing this up, but I imagine a good trumpet would put quite a dent in his dad's checkbook, huh?
Not necessarily. All the better music dealers have a trial purchase plan. You are simply making a small investment in your son's lifetime personality.
Sounds good.
That's such a bullshit sales phrase. You're making an investment in your son's future personality. What?
This boy's enthusiasm, he can't miss.
All right, let's look at some horns.
All right, sir.
Now, this trumpet is made by the world's largest manufacturer.
Oh, I don't think the make is important, is it?
Bud, I don't think the make matters much.
Doesn't matter much. Thought I told you, boy, the most fun comes from the most skilled playing.
Kirthan says, I wanted to play cello, but my hands were too small, even for kid ones. Aw, that's sad. I'm sorry.
And the most skill comes only from an instrument designed to give you the best sound possible. It sure does matter. Why, you should see what care goes into making a really superior instrument. You gotta inspect your horn, boy. You ought to take a look at a...
Inspect your horn, boy.
factory that makes top quality instruments.
Mass Lunacy says, but Hannah, I still have my sax from high school. I call her Gilda, and she's the bestest. Good.
The dealer has the same idea. You listen to him, Buzz.
The instrument with the best sound comes out of plants that combine modern equipment with precision craftsmanship. Precision finishing of the most intricate parts. Superior workmanship like this is possible because no one man builds an instrument. Each operation checks on the previous one, and each operation is performed by an expert in that phase. Years of know-how make the best instrument. If that craftsman stopped spinning that sousaphone bell for a second, he would completely change the quality of the instrument. A manufacturer of quality instruments is equipped to produce the best sound. He realizes that you play the inside of an instrument, not the outside. So he takes care to produce a smooth finish inside that will not obstruct sound through such methods as hydraulic expansion of curved parts. The best instruments are uniform. Every one is exactly like every other of the same kind. Valves must be ground with utmost accuracy for smooth, easy playing. Out of this unseemly, unfinished heap, with the skill of experience, will come a row of gleaming, high-quality saxophones. There is the high skill of craftsmanship, for instance, that produces a seamless bell, further removing sound resistance, giving to the finished Coprion instrument
about had enough of this shit. Yeah, I don't know why everyone was so excited for this one. This is so incredibly boring.
Through research,
like, I get there's an MST3K about it, but guys, I'm not as clever as the people from MST3K.
Assures their
I got nothing. This is just
testing
shit.
To analyze the tone, to measure the sound for accuracy to a tiny fraction of a semitone. This is the care, the skill, the experience and perfection that produce a quality instrument. This instrument will make music fun for you, young fella. Now you're all set. Good luck, and I'll see you in the band.
Well, sir, he was really on his way now. I had done my part.
Shake hands with danger.
The spirit of music was a new thing with him now. For the rest of the story, I could just sit back and watch the training. Watch him open up as a new person.
I've not seen The Gambler either, no. I definitely can't show it if it shows a decapitation, even if it's simulated.
In the months that led to graduation, all the things happened to Buzz that we knew.
Did I hear about
would
the movie
happen.
Too Gross to
He
Riff?
was ready
No.
to really belong now. And by the time
Oh,
he
it's
reached
off
high
screen?
school,
Okay.
he would be ready to take that big solo.
Join the band so you can spend dances playing music instead of actually enjoying yourself.
The happiest person is the one who has a chance to express himself. No one expresses more naturally than a child. And there is no more natural expression than music.
It's over, the end. Now we never have to watch it again. Jesus.
I'm looking for the debtor of this S10. Is she home?
What's going on?
I'm repoing your car.
We're actually going out to look for a 2006 Nissan Altima. This hard one, the girl's been eluding us for a while.
To the owner of the green Cherokee, I'm repoing your car.
Come on, straight back. Nobody wants to meet the repo man.
You ain't taking my car. No, you ain't.
Get me my card today and now.
Hey, put the car down, man.
We'll bang on the door. We'll yell their name. They don't want to come outside. Not the police, ma'am. I'm just a repossessor.
I'm here to take your car.
Yeah, you think you're gonna take it?
But when this repo man comes,
What the hell are you doing in my yard?
you'll have a chance to trade in those late notices for your pink slip. If you're down on your luck, it pays to play repo games.
Hey, it's your lucky day. You're on a game show.
This is Repo Games. It's the only repossession show that gives you the opportunity to win your vehicle back.
Oh my God, this is on the spot.
All right, dude, just tell me how to play. I'm gonna ask you 5 questions. If you get 3 right, you get to keep the car free and clear. No more loan, you get the title, you get to drive away.
But if you can't do that, I'm gonna take it to the impound lot, okay?
No. We're leaving with my car today.
Oh, I got my cell phone. Do I get a lifeline?
Disgusting.
So you ready to play?
Yeah.
I'm just so nervous. My mom's gonna see this, all
Great.
my friends, and I don't even got my makeup on or nothing.
Question 1. What was Barack Obama's name in 2005?
Pass.
There's no pass in Repo Games. Greg, bring it up for me. How many colors in a standard pack of M&Ms?
Yellow, red, green, brown. I'm gonna go 5.
That answer is wrong.
Let's suppose that Jared from Subway gorged himself with 3-foot-long subs. How many inches of sandwiches is he now digesting?
Footlongs are 6 inches. Wait, footlongs.
When translated from its French origin, what does Grand Tetons mean? Big tits. Get out, yeah! What weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of lead?
I don't know, man.
What famous gift did the French give us in the year 1886?
The French, I don't know. French fry.
You guys are like the Three Stooges.
How many days are in a leap year? 5. You're saying there's 5 days in a leap year.
A triathlon has 3 events. How many events are in a decathlon?
5, 6.
Like Moses says,
Okay,
please
15.
be fake,
I
please
don't
be
know.
fake, please
How
be
many
fake.
eyes does a cyclops have?
4.
Wow.
What are the Spice Girls' names?
Melby, Scary Spice, Ginger.
If you want to be my lover.
Oh, Posh.
2 more.
Baby, Sporty, Spice.
That is correct. That is correct.
I don't even listen to that song.
I don't know the answer.
Say goodbye to your car.
You know what? you. Keep the car.
Hey, where's what? Hey, buddy, put my car down.
Don't take my car.
Take the car away, Greg.
I'm not leaving. It's the last thing I have.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You will never have to pay a car payment again.
All right.
Go ahead and drop the truck.
Truck's yours, dude.
Thank you, Jesus. I'm tied up to my car. It's over. Thank you. Thank you, Repo Games. Woo!
Repo Games, you saved my ass.
Don't take my car.
Holy shit, fuck those people. That's disgusting. Mike Mack says Repo Games, The Rise of the Karen. Spider-Man Homecoming airline safety short. That's probably copyrighted. Was that real? Yes. Joe Aconite, thanks for coming. Have I seen Army of the Dead? No, I don't like Zack Snyder.
I've heard some rather disturbing reports about you.
Such as?
Such as the fact that you're spending so much time with people who are nothing but communists.
Nothing but communists. Well, maybe there's nothing but communism for people who aren't afraid to think. Look, Dad, if you want to find out how I stand on anything, just ask me. Don't waste your time by listening to a lot of stool pitching.
You don't know what you're saying, Paul. You don't know what communism really means.
No, but I'm learning. And what I'm learning makes more sense to me now than anything I've ever learned before. Your world is dying, Dad, and it's burying itself in the dry rot of imperialism and colonialism. Communism is building a new world right in front of your eyes, and you can't see it.
I saw communism at work before you were born, Paul. I remember the horrible, senseless violence, the bitterness. I saw the terror in Kiel and Berlin.
You remember a man named Hitler? That's where your violence came from. But people like you couldn't see that either until it was too late.
Paul, let's not quarrel about history. Think about America, our country. It's been good to us. Well, but all this happened.
I remember when you made that speech at a 4th of July picnic. I was about 12. And it sounded great. Then. But somehow you flag wavers never get around to mentioning wars, depression, big business government, bigotry, Middle Eastern oil, the China lobby. What's the matter? Don't you read between the headlines?
No matter what you say, Paul, and no matter how big our problems are, there's still the most important thing of all. We have freedom here. Freedom to make what we can of our own lives.
Freedom to conform. Freedom to make the proper responses when somebody pushes the propaganda button.
That was a little interesting.
In every large organization, like every big firm, every civil service department, the armed forces and so on, there must be hundreds, even
D&D propaganda? What's this? Oh, Satanic Panic.
Forever and...
It's
began as a cult phenomenon, then it caught on. Now a new game is sweeping the country.
You will burn forever and ever in eternal torment. You are no more.
The role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons debuted in 1974. It became a hit with many adolescents, but critics claimed it was an invitation to devil worship.
The witchcraft, the demonism, the spells.
And worse.
It is not fun and games.
The media set off a satanic panic.
A lot of adults who think it's been connected to a number of suicides and murders.
That connection has been largely debunked.
It's nothing but a witch hunt.
And the game has generated an unexpected legacy.
This was a revolution.
On a summer day in August 1979, the family of a missing teenager called a Texas investigator named William Deere with some startling information.
Dallas Egbert had disappeared from Michigan State University during the summer session.
James Dallas Egbert III was a 16-year-old sophomore, and his family hired Deere to help find him.
He was a computer nerd, and he had a large amount of hair and carried his little briefcase. I wasn't sure that I was being told exactly what precipitated his disappearance, so I said, well, I guess the best thing we can do is I'll go to Michigan State University, and I'll find out for myself exactly what was going on.
What he found when he went to Egbert's dorm room was a shelf of neatly stacked books and something else.
There was a cork board with a series of tacks.
In what might look like a random pattern of thumbtacks, the investigator saw what he thought could be a clue. The shape resembled a building that was part of a network of underground campus steam tunnels, which students told him they sometimes explored.
We set out with maps, and we started going into the tunnels one morning with press everywhere. I entered with the idea that I did not know what I was getting into.
But he had a hunch that it had something to do with a game that was growing in popularity.
This is a quest in a fantasy world of castles and dungeons, monsters and dragons. This world has become real to these people. It's all part of a game called Dungeons & Dragons.
Dungeons & Dragons, also known as D&D, was created by the late Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson in the early 1970s. It was born out of their love for military war games, and they devised scenarios with made-up characters that incorporated their interest in history and fantasy fiction. Gygax said it provided an escape.
All of us at times feel a little inadequate in dealing with the modern world. It would feel much better if we knew that we were a superhero or a mighty wizard.
The game is played in a group, and the guide, or dungeon master,
you enter a very small room,
talks the players through the fictional, sometimes violent adventures they will go on.
And each has an elaborate scoring sheet for his character, with points for wisdom and strength and the like. A throw of these special dice decide the outcome of battles in an intricate scoring system. Nothing is acted out. The real action is in the mind.
Kirthan with 100 bits says, speaking of D&D, I'm about to start DMing a fresh run of Curse of Strahd, but instead of Strahd, it's Lady Dimitrescu. I know it's the vampire lady. I hope that goes well. Hype Train, 44% to level 1.
You guys are entering the castle.
But some, including Deere, worried that while the action was imaginary, some kids might take it too far.
You're leaving the world of reality into the world of fantasy. It advocated murder, decapitation, and I'm going, this isn't a hell.
No more than any other form of entertainment that includes violence, a John Wayne movie is violent. It's not that crazy.
Healthy game? How can it be a healthy game?
That game, and Deere's hunch that Egbert was playing it in the tunnels, made great fodder for headlines, but it was a dead end, and Deere went back to Texas empty-handed.
It wasn't within a day or two that the phone call came in.
Clearcat says this is the same crap they push on video games and comic books and violent movies and TV shows.
I was told where I could find him.
Yeah.
That he was still alive. So we flew out, and I'm trying to remember exact words, but he couldn't really say a lot. And I left it like that.
Egbert was a complicated teenager whose disappearance was never fully explained and who later committed suicide.
There was speculation he was the victim of a campus game called Dungeons and Dragons, but after a month-long nationwide search, he was found unharmed.
Deer fed into the growing suspicions about D&D in a book that pointed to the game as a culprit in Egbert's disappearance.
Bardlock Moses, thank you for gifting a sub. Lou, you cannot have any cheese. I'm sorry. I know.
But Tim Kask, who helped develop D&D with Gary Gygax, says Deer was just hyping the story for personal gain.
He was a publicity hound, and he knew that he could hang it on D&D and gather a lot of media frenzy, and he did.
Can't be
Dallas Egbert is a tragic story. Brilliant young man, sent off to university at 15. It had nothing to do with D&D in the steam tunnels.
Still, that attention set off an unexpected chain of events.
Our stock took off, literally. We sold thousands of more copies within 90 days of all that stuff happening, and we were up in print runs. That's when we took off.
Sales nearly quadrupled the year after Egbert disappeared. As the cult game was going mainstream, Dungeons and Dragons generated interest in two conflicting groups, people who wanted to buy it and those who wanted to ban it. And televangelists took on a new crusade.
They are kids like yours, like the ones in your neighborhood. Kids who are turning to darkness because society has shut God out.
Conservative fundamentalist Christian group would see a game that involved satanic figures.
Says alive when? Wednesday, I believe.
Evil figures that would be a source of concern.
Dungeons and Dragons has been called the most effective introduction to the occult in the history of man. It is a fantasy.
It's a game! It's a game based on fantasy worlds, largely based on sort of Tolkien-style high fantasy.
Role-playing game that teaches demonology, witchcraft.
These people are the crazy
a
ones.
religious
They
man
sure
himself, was put on the defensive. The company hired psychologist Dr. Joyce Brothers to fend off criticism.
There is good and evil in life, and the way Dungeons and Dragons is set up is that good triumphs over evil.
Tim Kask says that in private, he and Gygax couldn't believe the game was being linked to devil worship.
Without sounding disrespectful at all, we laughed our butts off most of the time.
MW1642, thanks for gifting a sub. Bardlock Moses, thanks for 200 bits. And Mike Mack says, doesn't the Bible do the same thing? What do you mean?
Because it's like, are you kidding me? You really think we're teaching your children demonology?
But the controversy grew after the news media reported that a string of teen murders and suicides had one thing in common. The killers or victims were D&D players.
I hate this stuff because this happens during like school shootings too. They'll be like, they owned a copy of Call of Duty. Okay, well, a lot of kids own copies of Call of Duty. 99.999% of them aren't doing these things. That is not the lowest common denominator here. You might as well say the perpetrator or the victim owned pants. Are pants the cause of these violence issues? More at 11. What they accuse D&D does to kids. Oh. Bardlock Moses says you can punch devils in D&D. Yeah. Devils or demons.
Mary Towie was killed.
The victims and killers all drank water. We need to get to the bottom of this, okay? H. Baird says, by this logic, toothpaste has caused all murders. Tea with Goblin says, hey, Hannah, here's a link to the 1960s footage of people being asked about the ending of White Australia policy. It's safe up until 5:30, where some random drops the N-bomb. Might be good public domain content. Unfortunately, my country is still a racist hellhole. I'm not going to click on it just because of the N-word, just in case. Like, it's rough. Clear Cat says the shooter was known to have breathed air.
Killed by
That's why I never breathe.
Two friends, Ron Adcox and Darren Molitor. The crucial point is, can a game create psychosis? Or is someone like Darren Molitor an accident waiting to happen, with or without the game?
If you found 12 kids in murder-suicide with one connecting factor in each of them, wouldn't you question it? And that's all people would do.
I would certainly do it in a scientific manner, and this is
Anonymous
as
Gifter,
unscientific as you can get. It's nothing but a witch hunt.
But many grieving parents believed there was a connection. Pat Pulling's teenage son committed suicide, and she spoke publicly, claiming that his game playing contributed to his death.
These children not only begin to have violent dreams or violent thoughts or negative, depressing type things, they become very much a part of this character.
Young people commit suicide for a whole variety of reasons. In my research, I saw nothing that led anyone towards depression or suicide.
Northwestern University professor of sociology, Gary Allen Fine, wrote a book called Shared Fantasy and studied the D&D subculture.
They were the kind...
Kirthan says, we spent the majority of my last D&D game teaching a kobold how to dance, so violent and satanic. Hey, if I learned anything from Footloose, it's that dancing is the work of the devil, so...
Kind of kids and young people who didn't go to dances or date on the weekends. It was part of a nerd culture, I guess you would say.
I can still throw death spells, huh, Steve?
The D&D culture intrigued filmmakers and fiction writers. Rona Jaffe's book, Mazes and Monsters, was loosely based on what people thought had happened to Dallas Egbert. It was made into a movie starring a young Tom Hanks.
Let the journey begin. Well, which way do we go?
They went down the storm tunnels and got to play D&D in the tunnels. We had to like sit around a table. Like how awesome would it have been if it turned out that D&D was like what they did?
Cory Doctorow is a...
Bardlock Moses, thanks for 100 bits. 91% to level 2 with 50 seconds left.
Writer and activist who early on was profiled as an avid D&D player in this story from 1985.
The moral panic was mostly laughable. The idea that there were people who were fundamentalist Christians for whom Dungeons & Dragons represented some kind of existential threat to my soul was silly. You could go around and have really satisfying arguments with like profoundly ignorant grown-ups.
Over time, the Dungeons & Dragons controversy lost steam. And today, the common thread between D&D players is less likely to include any reported links to violence, and more likely to involve Emmy Awards and literary prizes. Stephen Colbert and writers Ta-Nehisi Coates and Junot Diaz are among the millions of smart, bookish kids who played D&D and shrugged off any sense of panic.
People were bananas. My mom moral panicked. She was way more worried about us getting shanked, you know, or getting caught up in some nonsense.
It was a lot of fun. It also provided them a variety of other skills, leadership skills, negotiation skills.
We helped each other without even knowing it, man. I learned an enormous amount about what it meant to be courageous and what it meant to be passionate and the kind of hard moral choices that one needs to make in real life in this kind of fake, sort of imagined plane of...
I think D&D could and should have utility in therapeutic settings. I know that sounds weird, but in fairness, I've also seen other people like write papers and stuff on the efficacy of this, but like, I really think in certain group settings, D&D as a therapeutic tool could be helpful to some people as sort of a narrative therapy. Dealing with certain kinds of situations in a safe, fictionalized environment. Felix Night Owl, thanks for 50 bits. Spongy Lord says, the most dangerous thing about D&D is the level of sugar in snacks consumed during a D&D game. And what about Bob? Thanks for a $5 donation. Says, thanks for the laughs I need right now. Well, thanks for the donation. Kirthan with 100 bits says, the Trauma Center by me does roleplay similar to D&D during therapy. It's incredibly useful. Yeah.
Of action.
And for Diaz, as a young immigrant from the Dominican Republic, the game had special meaning.
This was a revolution. Being a bunch of kids of color in a society that tells us that we're nothing, being permitted under our own power to be heroic, to have agency, to do the hero stuff, to take and be on adventures. There was nothing like it for us. It was very, 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 very impactful.
While some parents used to worry about what kids were playing, Now they're more likely to be worried about how they're playing.
Cell phones and social media have revolutionized the way we live, but how has plugging in changed the way your kids are growing up?
Through the 20th century, you have this tension between free play and controlled media. I mean, we were concerned about what sitting in darkened movie theaters would do to our children. Just wait 30 years, and they will be worried about what their children are doing. And it will no doubt be something different than sexting and bullying as we know it today. This is not a new phenomenon. It just changes with each new technology.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says that in this media-saturated age, it's important for kids to use their imaginations in free play. And in a twist, the role-playing games that set off a moral panic in the past may look more like a solution than a problem to today's parents.
We only have a minute left on the hype train, and we're at 19% to level 3.
It's a great thing to dream yourself in other places, and it helps understand who you are. It's just nice to spend a lot of time thinking, imagining, in a group, collaborating.
Mommy is awesome.
Imagination is a good thing, man. Very powerful.
Very interesting. Miss K's with 100 bits, thank you. 23% with only 20 seconds left. We're probably not going to make it. Still, solid hype train, everyone. Thank you. Ooh! Deliverin, thank you for 5 gifted subs, bringing us over at literally the last second to 100% of the hype train. We made it to level 3. Thank you. Mazes and Monsters is free on YouTube, so there's that. Trying to find, there was like a special that talked about satanic panic, and it was like He-Man and a bunch of other stuff. Tea with Goblin says, I think a good deal of Christian conservatives would rather that their kids weren't being imaginative because then they might start questioning. Maybe. Yeah, like this, they're watching the video, but can I find just an, there we go, original? Oh, dang it. That sucks.
Now, most of you folks out there probably
Moonrail, thank you for gifting a sub. We're at 65% of level 4. I'm trying to find the special. I just can't find it. Deception of a Generation, thank you, Pseudosapien. Bardlock Moses, thanks for gifting a sub.
All right.
Where do we start, Mr. Van Gool?
Oh my god.
Oh, it's someone else watching it. Dang it, I just want to find the original. Maybe I'd have to find it somewhere else, I don't know. 87% to level 4. Maybe this is it? Oh, I think we got it.
Hello, I'm Gary Greenwald, and over the past several years,
the Eagle's Nest Ministries has exposed certain things like rock and roll music, Dungeons and Dragons, marijuana, and even the New Age movement. And now we feel there's another attack upon our society.
Not marijuana
if I say something like
and the
wicked
rock and roll
witches and
music.
demon clouds and spell books and even the zone of eternal evil, what comes to mind? What do you think of? Do you think of a coven of witches or a seance? Watch now.
Wicked witches, demon clouds. Where do we start, Mr. Van Gool?
You start by getting that spell book before those foolish witches destroy the world.
We've got some witches to splat.
You coming with us, Mr. V? I'm afraid I cannot. Like we're not into witches either, sir. We'll stick with you. Yeah. If you wish, I'm going to hunt down that demon mist in the zone of eternal evil where the darkest spirits are trapped. Like on second thought, send us a postcard.
Good luck with the mist, Mr. V.
If they don't recover that book, no amount of luck will save us.
Vincent Price was great. I haven't seen that version in a long time.
Oh, powers locked within this stone, transport me now to the evil zone.
And children
now
to me to see. You know, you've been watching a Scooby-Doo cartoon,
30
and
seconds
it's
left
amazing
of the
to
hype
me
train.
to see what's being brought forth in a cartoon. We've seen spell books, occultic amulets, we saw a crystal ball, astral projection to the evil zone, all of this in a children's cartoon. Now, I've got a guest today. His name is Phil Phillips. He's from Texas. He has been
Phillips! That sounds like a fake name.
Involved in missions work in his life, and he has now felt called to
Malachi the Evil Wizard gifting 2 subs and saving the hype train. Thank you.
Study the effects of cartoons and children's toys and even TV programs upon our children today. And I'd like to introduce a young man. And Phil, God bless you, and it's good to see you today.
It's a pleasure being here today, Gary.
Now, Phil, I'll tell you what,
Level
14
4
years ago, Scooby-Doo was a lot different than what we see today, and I could hardly recognize it. Can you tell me what's going on in this cartoon?
Yes, there's a vast movement toward the occult within the cartoon and toy industry. Most people don't realize that 80% of all cartoons deal directly with the occult, and 40% of
This is what Milo would be doing if he was born a couple decades earlier. Bumble Homestead, thank you for gifting a sub.
the toys on the market have occultic influence, and these are the most popular.
And these toys are actually a mirror of the cartoons, is that correct?
Right, they're released together. It's a form of marketing where the toys and the cartoons are released together to create this popularity for the toys.
Now, you have a concern, I know, that all of this is affecting our youth, and I wanted to know, do you feel that there are a lot of children that are being influenced by the cartoons they watch?
Oh yes, take for instance a cartoon like He-Man and Masters of the Universe. It can be seen as many as 31 times a week in an area, with a viewing audience as much as 16 million children each time it's aired. And so we're seeing a vast effect on the whole United States and other countries around the world through these cartoons and toys.
Millions of children now watching occultic
The most profound
cartoons.
effect He-Man ever had on culture was this.
And so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I feel it a little peculiar.
Tea with Goblin says Phil Phillips looks like someone dipped Eric Trump in wax and gave him a slightly improved charisma score. What's going on? Pyromancer says the best thing from He-Man. And Anonymous Gifter, thanks for gifting Krista Willow a sub.
What's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, yeah. I say, hey, what's going on? And he tries. Oh my God, do I try? I try all the time.
Hey, 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 what's going on? Thanks for the 100 bits.
Just keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings.
This is the best part. The chef. Very satanic. 1 minute left with 65% of the hype train. H-Baird says, joke's on you, I'm into this shit.
Then going out and buying occultic toys. Now, could we say that there is witchcraft and occultic practices that are actually being portrayed in these cartoons?
No, not really. The bad guys are typically the ones using magic, and just because it's magic doesn't mean it's promoting the occult. It's fictional. They're fictional characters doing fictional things. Magic isn't real.
Oh yes, the witchcraft and occult practices are not make-believe.
They are
taken from actual witchcraft, actual pagan religions,
no, 20 seconds left on the hype
levitation,
train.
mind control, astral projection,
came so close.
and other forms of witchcraft ceremonies are portrayed within the cartoons.
All of these things are portrayed in the cartoons?
Yes, very much so.
Well, then we could suspect that there's some kind of a spiritual force behind these things to program our children.
Thank you, Pyromancer, for gifting
the children
a sub.
receive
Came so
this
close. Not
in
quite, though.
in a very different light than we do.
Well, Lynn, before we talk about that,
Thank
let's
you,
go
everyone,
into
for the
another
level 4 hype
Scooby-Doo
train.
cartoon,
Really great.
and let's see some of the occultic and witchcraft influences that are very blatant in this cartoon. Let's go to Scooby-Doo again here.
Jody, thank you for 100 bits.
We meet again, Vincent Van Gogh.
Marcella! So you're the evil mist. But how did you wind up in the zone?
Oh, I was swept here by a spectral wind after I escaped your chest of demons.
From one trap to the
He's
next.
looking a lot like Doctor Strange in this shot, doesn't he? Dormammu, I've come to bargain. It's like the exact same outfit. Mike Mack says, Christian, we don't like people outside our book doing magic.
You never were terribly clever, were you, Marcella?
No! Oh, yes, Van Gogh. While you rot here, my sister witches will set me free at last to haunt the heavens and the... in a show.
Toy industry.
They're about to start their...
We're looking at occultic things. We're seeing things like the chest of demons and witches and Stonehenge and occultic spell 13. I mean, we're talking about satanic things here. Now, Phil, it's becoming obvious to me what's going on, and I wonder, how did you get started in exploring all of this? I mean, how did you get into analyzing the toy industry?
Well, it was very unusual. I was in the process of going on the mission field and working my way through that and speaking in different churches. The Lord directed me to go on a 14-day fast. And during this fast, I did something very unusual. I walked into a toy store. And
I was malnourished and woozy, and I decided to walk into a toy store, and I hallucinated, and now I have a job. Yay! Pyromancer says, because trying to banish demons is demonic. Apparently.
when I walked in the toy store, I was faced with a toy holding an occult symbol in its hand. And this got my curiosity up, so I purchased the toy. And I read the comic book that was with it, and it was occultic practices within the comic book. So I talked about it in the church I was in that night, but I didn't think much of it.
I know, it's really embarrassing. What do you think this guy does now? Is his, what is his name? Phillips? What's the name of it? Mike says, what's your favorite Scooby-Doo crossover? Mine is with Johnny Bravo. Probably Batman. Philip. Oh, well, that's this guy. Who's the other guy? Gary Greenwald. No. That was still Phil Phillips, I think. Like, what's this guy up to now? I really want to know. Is he embarrassed? Is he like, no, I was right. Things are demonic or something? I don't know. He got plastic surgery and runs a ministry? Okay.
Of it. I threw it in the back seat of my car. About 3 days later, I was driving home from these series of services, and the Lord spoke to me about what happens when a child plays with a toy and how they project themselves with their imagination into a toy, and they give it life, character, abilities, talents, and they set this around.
Wait, did you need someone to explain how toys work? Weren't you a kid once? Phil Phillips is the author of Turmoil in the Toy Box, Halloween and Satanism, Sunday Morning Mind Control, and Dinosaurs, the Bible, Barney, and Beyond. Among others, Turmoil in the Toy Box is about how the Smurfs, Care Bears, My Little Pony, He-Man, Mighty Mouse, Cabbage Patch Kids, and Rainbow Bright are all leading our precious children into ruin. The other 3 book titles speak for themselves. Halloween and Satanism includes some perhaps unwitting but still overt anti-Semitism on display in the author's choice of images and captions. Yikes. Practically his entire repertoire of works fall under 80s, early 90s Christian paranoia sensationalism market. They're also unmentionably bad. Citation not needed. His books were sold in every Christian bookstore on prominent display right next to those of Tex Mars. Phil and his wife Cynthia have since authored a book on attention deficit disorder called ADD, Welcome to Our World. The book, also available in audio version, is based on Phil's personal testimony of finding out as an adult that he was ADD, or that he has ADD. They have also authored Miracle Parenting on the subject of biblical parenting, as well as a blogspot website entitled Miracle Families, which is his website. Yoan80 says, listen, Philip, we get real problems with kids these days not going to church and playing with their Pokemonsters. Any ideas? Oh, he needs a new website designer. I mean, I guess he hasn't posted since 2009, so why bother? Wow. Okay.
Around the toy.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're saying a child actually projects himself into the toy.
Okay. This is an hour and a half long. I'm going to save it for later just because we've already been going for almost 3.5 hours and I got to go exercise. But yeah, we'll do the rest of this another time. It's very interesting. I guess under Chuds. That probably goes under Chuds, right? That could easily be under Chuds or conspiracy theories. I am gonna go kickbox a tiger, thank you.
What's up, guys? What's going on? You guys excited today? What you guys been up to? Because I've just been at
all right, have a good evening, everyone. You're all wonderful and valid. Thanks for coming to the stream. Come back tomorrow for Tinfoil Tuesday. Peter's got some new stuff, and I'm sure we'll find some other good conspiracy theories to laugh at and have some fun talking about together. So, yeah, I'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.